It's time for the right to heal, where
ยินดี
we
ต้อน
are
รับ
centering
พว
mental
กเขา
health
ก็
multiracial
เบิ่ง
equity in California.
สำห
Today
รับ
is brought
รับ
to
ช
you
ม
by
มื้อนี้
statewide organizations who work
โด
in
ย
partnership
ผู้
with
ที่
community
มี
orgs filled with
เฮ็ดเวียกกับ
geniuses and
partnership ที่
powerhouses
เนี่ย
who understand the importance
ผู้
of
ที่เข้าใจ
providing
ความ
mental
สำคัญ
health
ของ
education
เรื่องสุข
and
ภาพจิต
resources
สำหรับ
for
กา
our
รศึกษา
community
และ
members.
มี
Get
แรงช่วยเหลือ
familiar.
ต่าง
These organizations are
ๆ มี
willing
องค์การ
and
เหล่า
ready
นี้
to communicate with
จะ
you.
พร้อม
Check
ที่
out
จะ
their
สื่อสารกับท่าน
websites and
ก็ให้ไป
understand that
เบิ่
they
ง
are
เว็บไซ
here
ต์ และ
to
เข้าใจ
provide
ว่าเขาจะอยู่
services
นี่
for our
เพื่อ
community
ให้บริ
members,
การ
which
ใน
means that
ชุมชน
includes
ของท่าน
your family members,
และ
your
รวม
loved
ทั้ง
ones, and your friends. You don't have
คน
to
ใน
take
ครอบ
my
ครัว
word
และ
for
ผู้
it.
ที่ท่านฮัก
Check out a few of the advocates from
แล้
a
วก็
few of
ให้
the
เช็คเบิ่ง
organizations that are involved today
องค์การ
and
ต่าง
every
ๆ ที่
day
มีส่วนร่วม
in
ใน
this
วันนี้และ
amazing
ทุก
work
มื้อ
that
และ
all
มัน
of
ก็
us
เป็น
deserve.
เวียกงานที่ดีหลายและทุกทานที่รับใช้พวกเรา
Hi, and welcome to the
ยินดีต้อนรับ
2022 A Right to Heal event.
ต่อ
My name is Kieran
ประธาน
Savage
ที่สอง
Sangwan.
สื่อข่าวประจำเป็น
I have
Kieran
the
Savage
privilege of
Sangwan
being the Executive
ข้าพเจ้า
Director of the
ก็เป็น
California Pan-Ethnic
Executive
Health
Director สำหรับ
Network,
California
otherwise known as
Pan-Ethnic Health
CPAN.
Network หรื
My
อว่าเอิ้น
pronouns
ว่า
are she, her, and
CPAN
hers, and I'm coming to you in
เอิ้
this
นข้าพ
video
เจ้าเป็น
message
ผู้หญิง
from
นะ
unceded Patwin land in Davis, California.
อยู่เมืองเดวิสแคลิฟอ
For
ร์เนีย
those of
เด้
you
อ
who
ตอน
don't
นี้
know
สำหรับ
CPAN,
ผู้
it's
ที่
a real
เรียก
pleasure
รู้จักเรื่อง
to
CPAN
meet you
ว่า
via this
ยินดี
virtual
ที่
event. I'm so
รู้จัก
glad that
กัน
you're here with us
พวกเขาก็
today.
ดีใจที่ทานมาร่วม
CPAN
กับพวก
is a
เขาในวันนี้
multicultural health
CPAN
advocacy
เป็น
organization,
พวกวั
which
ฒน
means
ธรรม
that
หลาก
we
หลาย
work with a
อยู่ใน
broad
ชุมชน
network
พ
of
วกเขา
community
เฮ็ด
partners,
เวียก
including many of
กับ
you
community
across
partner
the state, and bring
ทั่ว
together
รัฐ
multicultural
และ
communities
นำ
in order to advance health equity and racial justice.
Aikwi Nakna Virginia Hedrick Shregon Mewamechuk. Hello, my name is Virginia Hedrick. I'm a member of the Yurok tribe and the executive director of the California Consortium for Urban Indian Health. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a mother of 5 and I live and work in Nisenan territory here in the Sacramento Valley. The California Consortium for Urban Indian Health is a statewide alliance of 10 Indian Health Service contracted urban Indian organizations, which include 2 residential treatment facilities, 2 access and referral, and 7 community health centers. Sequoia was really founded in 2006 to do policy advocacy on behalf of California's urban Indian organizations and ensure that our health centers have access to adequate funding, any policy changes that might be impacting community health centers and the Indian healthcare delivery system.
My name is Jeffrey Reynoso and I use he, him pronouns. I have the privilege to serve as Executive Director for the Latino Coalition for a Healthy California. LCHC is a statewide policy advocacy organization protecting and advancing health equity for our state's Latinx, Latino, and Latina community, representing nearly 40% of 40 million Californians. More specifically, we focus our work in the most marginalized people and places within our beautiful and diverse Latinx community.
I'm Rhonda Smith, the Executive Director of the California Black Health Network. We are the only Black-led statewide organization that works to advance health equity for all Black Californians. One of the things that we're known for is the Black Health Agenda, and that is our process to develop a statewide strategy and plan to close the gap in health disparities, advance health equity, and ultimately improve life expectancy.
Good morning, my name is Mandy Dees, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of California with the Southeast Asia Resource Action Center, also known as CRAC. And we are a national civil rights organization that co-powers diverse communities from Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam to create more equity and social justice in health, mental health, education, and immigration. And at CREC, we define Southeast Asian Americans as a political identity of refugees and immigrants and families of refugees and immigrants from those 3 countries with our shared collective experiences.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the 2nd annual Right to Heal. We are so happy to be in this space together. My name is Miss Mariana and I'm your host MC for this beautiful day that we have together. Before we start anything, really quick, tap into the comment section and just write in really quick what brings you joy today. One thing that brings you joy. Let's get this call and response going, coming from our very indigenous tradition. What brings you joy? I'm looking at the screen, so if my eyes break away, it's because I'm looking at your faces. I'm looking at your comments. Straight up, I see my health, the cool weather, community, coffee, the rain, my dog's family. Oh, yes, you are already in the house. I want you to know that this is a complete interactive experience. And today at the second annual Right to Heal event, we want you to feel a deep sense of belonging. So we welcome you. As your host MC of the evening or the afternoon, I'm here to set the pace, set the tone. Give me a number 2 if you're already feeling the energy from DJ Kitana, who is on the 1s and 2s, dancing and 2-stepping. I invite you, when you hear good tunes, to do the same. So again, we welcome you. For those of you who are still entering in the room, we have a full day for you. There will be testimonials, there will be keynotes, there will be poetry, there will be dance, and so much to uplift and celebrate this whole theme of coming together for our mental health advocacy, the policy change, and the services necessary. For those of you, there was a little bit of technical difficulty. Let's keep it real here. We are all working with technology, moving at a speed, rate, and capacity that gets a little out of hand. So we want you to know that we are making sure to communicate, make sure to take to the chat section if there's any, issues, so that we can make sure to assure accessibility for you. Put a 1 in the comments section if you are fully present this morning. Put a 10 if you're still a little sleepy and you're still are waking up. Let me see some 1s coming up. Oh, I see it. I see it. Let me tell you what brings me joy today. What brings me joy is my fabulous ponytail that I put on today for you all. Give me some laughter and give me some joy. Yes, we are here to have fun. So I pulled out my ponytail, Sophia. She and I are ready to host this day. I hope you are full of laughter and joy. So I want you to know that once again, I have you on the screen. I see already laughter and chuckles. So if my eyes break away from the camera, know that it's not a disconnect. We are in real time. This is not just a presentation. This is a community conversation. So I've got notes and talking points here. I got stuff plastered to the walls to make sure that I can have as much information as possible for you. So really quick, take to the chat section and introduce yourselves, your pronouns, the organization. I know some of you have done it already, but the house is full. Do it again. Excuse me. Right on. Katie, I see you. Laurel, I see you. Plenty of people here. Let me get my water to make sure to hydrate. Everybody get your water. We're going to make sure to hydrate through this experience. So, of course, for any event, we got to do housekeeping. And with housekeeping, that's necessary because we have a variety of languages, people from all different backgrounds here. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and give you a clear breakdown on how our technical side is going to work. This event is recorded. All materials and all slides will be available to all participants after this is said and done. So if there's anybody from your organizations that had other things to do and weren't able to attend, it's okay. We want to ensure accessibility so that you know that everybody can obtain this information and view it later for their study and for their awareness. We want to make it clear that everyone stays muted through the bulk of this presentation and conversation today. Other than question and answer, we'll make sure to have a process for you to unmute yourself when you go to your different breakaway rooms and things like that. But as of now, make sure that you have yourself muted. And another thing, anyone who touches the mic and talks today, you've got to represent yourself. So the moment you do unmute yourself, whether you're a presenter, a community participant, make sure to define, name, create, and speak for yourself. Represent your name, who you are, and where you're from. We really want to make sure to uplift that habit of defining, naming for ourselves so that there is no discrepancy and no issue. We want you to fully represent. So the moment you unmute yourself and touch the mic, make sure to represent who you are, where you're from, so that we can be totally familiar and connected to you, right? So I know a lot of you all have been using Zoom for quite some time. Put a number 2 in the chat section if you are a Zoom master at this point. Put a number 2 if you feel like you know Zoom inside out, upside down. All right, that's wonderful. Now, if for those of you who struggle, give me a number 7. If you still push the wrong bell or the wrong whistle, that's okay. Give me another 7 so we know, okay, there's some of you, that's all right. We're going to do a little housekeeping for Zoom, right? So there's going to be some slides that'll go up. We have some amazing technicians here that are doing everything they can behind the scene to ensure accessibility for all. But I want you to understand that when you look up, you'll see a slide that'll pop up. When you see slide 2, this is going to break down the operations of Zoom, right? So for Zoom, we want you to know that there is interpretation. This is a multilingual experience. We have Spanish, Khmer, Lao, and English. And see slide 3 for examples, right? We also want to shout out our interpreters. One was already active and ready. Whoever that was, you were on it. Make sure to see slide 3 for the examples of how to access your interpreters for this experience, right? So give me number 1 if you're following along and you understand that this is a multilingual experience and that you do have access. Very good, Vanessa. I see you checking in. Christian, Linda. All right. So we're moving along. We want to talk about the chat box. As you can see, this is an interactive experience and I will be gauging you completely through. So take to the chat section. As you know, you can make side comments to other people. If you see someone from a certain organization that's speaking to your heart, your mind, or your spirit, make a side box conversation. Reach out. Today is about connectivity so that after this experience, it doesn't stop here. It continues and you move forward more connected with other community members that resonate with you or sounds like there's some building in the future for you, right? So take to that chat section, make sure to throughout the day announce who you are, represent your perspectives, your thoughts, because we get to obtain that and keep that. That's something that we can study and use for your input as well, right? So next, closed captions. I want you to understand that closed captions are available in English. I want you to see the slide and the red number 2 for an example. Who uses closed captions? Who needs that? Who has issues with communications and closed captions assist you? Put a number 5. If you depend on closed captions, I watch movies with closed captions on because I want to make sure to get every little bit. So I see Samantha loves the closed captions. Tanisha, yes, I'm shouting you out because if we were in person, I'd be hollering at you just the same. So already we had to do some housekeeping, a few more things. Reactions, use them. I know when I see a little smiley face pop up or a little fire emoji, that means you're liking what I say and that we're in alignment. So please do use your reactions. It's a great way when someone has the floor, when someone has the mic to uplift them. I know as a performing artist, when I see you clap and when I see your facial expressions, it let me know that, this is not just a one-way linear experience. This is a two-way interactive experience, and we invite you to engage any way possible and make sure to give your thoughts, your ideas, and your encouragement to the speakers and the performers along the way, right? Now, we do have breaks, so relax. We're not going to hold you hostage to the experience. We have quick breaks with DJ Hitana. Put a number 3 in the chat section if you were feeling that intro, because they will be back to represent more sounds from all around the world, right? We also have mindfulness breaks. We're trying to make sure to honor not just your intellectual side, but also your body. So feel free to care for yourself. If you need to stand up and breathe, if you need to go put your feet in the grass for a moment during a break and come back, understand that we honor your body and your temple. We are not built to sit in one spot for hours. We are built for movement. So if you got to pop, lock, drop it, do a little shimmy shake to keep your body alert and aware, even outside of the music, we welcome that because this is a festive occasion and we are here to uplift your energy. So lastly, I want to remind you, if you touch the mic, represent who you are. We want to make sure to give you the opportunity to speak for yourself, define for yourself, and let the world and everyone participating know who is on the microphone. So I'm seeing all kind of dance emojis. I see the prayer emojis. I give thanks and praises to the Most High, air, fire, earth, water, and all the elements that have brought us to this moment today, to the second annual Right to Heal. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to start to transition to part of our program. But I do want you to understand that at any point, if you need someone behind the scenes to assist you, to give you any guidance along the way, there are plenty of folks who are willing to answer your questions. Put them up and we'll just do this. Put an exclamation point up and a question mark, and we will try to make sure that people who are behind the scenes are attentive to you. I want to give thanks to our tech, Metro Media, and James and the folks over there rocking it. We're going to keep open communication. On my side, tech, Ms. Tiffany is here holding it down to make sure that you can have this virtual experience and be fully engaged. So again, you are all, hundreds of you in here already engaging. So next, what we want to do is prepare for a very sacred tone that we need to set. And this is part of Indigenous tradition all around the world. And you're noticing more institutions and organizations creating space for it. And this is necessary because coming from our traditions, our rich cultures, we understand the importance of acknowledging where we come from and who we are before we rock the mic and pontificate and begin to do our activism and speak. So with that, I want to turn it over to our brother Razzle in Sacramento, California, for our sacred land acknowledgement.
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome each one of you here in a good way. I want to ask Grandfather to help in that good way. The area in which we're in is the Miwok land, so we really appreciate the thought of recognizing ancestral land, and we appreciate that. Today, we're asking Grandfather, to be able to open that door for the healing. Some of us, we go through a lot of trauma and things in our life. And we're going to call in the spirits of the land, and we want you to kind of focus on yourself, to be thankful. And this song will open up your heart to be able to look at yourself. So pado wana se wana so pado wana se wana wana se wana se hey wana se wana so pado wana se wana so pado wana se wana wana se hey wana se wana so pado wana se wana so pado wana se wana wana se hey wana se wana. Oh, and when we sing one song, we have to sing two songs to keep that balance. And through these songs, we want you to take that inventory of things that a lot of us, we carry that baggage. We need to let go of that today. And we need to forgive the unforgivable. And we need, most of all, is to forgive ourselves. It's a forgiveness. Toya, toya, yaga. Toya, 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 yaga. That I will say, yaga, yaga, queen, yaga, yaga, queen. Toya, toya, queen, yaga. Toya, toya, queen. Toya, toya, queen, yaga. And I will say, Yaka, Kuimo, Aho, all my relations.
Many thanks to Great Spirit and our elder, our brother Razzle. Everyone, clasp your palms in the comment section if you understand the power of us beginning these traditions in these sacred spaces with honoring our ancestors, honoring Great Spirit, and understanding that from our indigenous traditions and practices, they are inclusive of mental health. They are inclusive of heart health. They are inclusive of spirit health. And that's how we begin and end such sacred circles and ceremonies, even if we're in little boxes very far away. So we honor you and thank you, dear elder. We ask that you hold on to the theme that he has brought forward and making sure that as you're doing this difficult work at times of activism, of policy changes, of pushing up against old archaic ways and systems, that deep sense of resentment that can build up, that we understand that it's our duty to purge that through ceremony, through meditation, through mindfulness, because these are essentially and by virtue mental health practices, emotional hygiene practices, and we invite them at every moment. So collectively, if we can, take a deep breath and honor our moment. In West African tradition, I say Ashe. And together we say Ashe. So with that, now that we have gotten this party started proper light with bringing ancestors into the room and Great Spirit welcome, we'd like to start to go into some entertainment or edutainment for the heart and mind. It's time for poetry. Now, this next person that we have is an amazing brother, a monk who is here from Orange County, who is going to share some poetry deeply rooted in activism and unity to give you that deep but gentle reminder of who we are and why we are. We're first going to hear it in Khmer, and then we'll hear it in English. Make sure when you listen up to hear for the energy and the sincerity in this poetry reading. Take a listen.
អ្នកមត្ថរតនតិយសវន្ទាមិខ្ញុំប្រកាសណាសូមនមស្ការព្រះពុទ្ធព្រះធម៌ព្រះសង្ឃដោយសេចក្តីគោរពដោយសេចក្តីជ្រះថ្លាខ្ញុំប្រកាសណាភិក្ខុរុជិធម្មោស្រោយនៅដែនគង់នៅវត្តខ្មែរសន្តានាក្រុងសន្តានារដ្ឋកញ្ញាសារ៉ាអាមេរិកញោមបងប្អូនទាំងអស់រីករាយស្ដាប់នៅកំណាព្យនេះដូចតទៅកំណាព្យនេះមានចំណងជើងថាសម័យប៉ុលពត ខ្ញុំនឹកអាដិតរឿងរ៉ាវនេះពិតមិនពោលមូសានឹកដល់ប្រវត្តិជាតិខែមរារឿងក្តីសោកចាដងដួងចិត្តពលពតសម័យកើតរឿងព្រៃផ្សាយហួស្ដីថាគិតខ្មែររាប់លានសានជួបគ្រោងភ័យភិត មេគ្មានអាណិតប្រជាប្រុសស្រីធ្វើការគ្មានឈប់ពីព្រឹកដល់យប់ពុំដែលលូថ្ងៃលំបានអើយហន ពុំអាចហាស្ដីក្មេងចាំងតូចក្ដីត្រូវប្រឹងធ្វើការធ្វើហូរកំឡាំងកាត់រងស្លេកស្លាំងដោយក្វាំងអាហារមិនឲ្យហូបគ្រប់ ទួងឃ្លានយ៉ាងណាគ្មានក្តីមេត្តា សណ្ដោងប្រហនេឈឺមិនមើលថែទុកដូចឆ្កាទុកដូចឆ្មាឆ្កែឲ្យឈឺរិញរៃក្លះមរណាចាក់ចោលលងគេមានប្រុសមានស្រីអើយតគ្នាសំលៀបំពាំងពាក្យហើយញញាក់មិនឈ្នះរងាពេលខ្យល់ភ្លៀងផ្គរសែនវេទនីពុំអាចការពារឲ្យកងក្តៅបានធ្វើមិនត្រូវចិត្តចាប់ចងរំរិតនាំចេញចាំងឋានយកទៅទូមានក៏សាងមិនខានហើយពុំឃើញប្រាណវិលមកគេហៅមនុស្សដូចសត្វកើតក្តីវិបត្តិស្ទើរគ្រប់អាត្មាក្លាប់បែរជាឈួនស្ដីលែងយល់ការព្រោះរងទុកខាងធ្ងន់ធ្ងរពេកក្រៃរីឯគ្រួសារបែកបាំងឈឺផ្សាទាំងយប់ទាំងថ្ងៃពត់ប្រាមិត្តញៀនលោហិតថ្លាថ្លៃប្រត់ទាំងអាឡ័យប្រត់តហោហើយថ្ងៃនេះទៅមុខខ្មែរគ្រប់ភូមិស្រុកតាមឲ្យតនក្បែរកិច្ចនយោបាយជារឿងរួមខ្មែរទួងនៅស្រុកស្រែងត្រូវគិតជួយគ្នា
Welcome, Venerable Sroi Nuchdam. Good morning, everybody. My name is Amina Sen Matthews. I am the Director of Programs for Health and Mental Health Program here at the Cambodian Family Community Center. I will be translating Venerable Sroi Nuchdam's poem, Khmer, during the poet time. The project, the Cambodian family has partnered with the Multi-Ethnic Collaborative Community Agency to highlight the stigma associated with mental illness among communities of color through poetry, memoir, and short stories. We have compiled a few writings from our participants to intensive writing workshops, and we hope you are inspired to find your story. Khmer, during the Pol Pot time, by Venerable Sroi Nuchdam. I miss the past. That is a fact without saying. History of the Khmer Kingdom, the sorrow that was deep in the heart. Pol Pot era. Cruelty occurred over expectancy. Millions of Cambodians faced crisis. Lord had no mercy for the citizens. Working nonstop, morning to night, to no end. Children, adults, were not able to complain. We were overworked, then got sick from the lack of nutrients. Truth was, there was no food, no sympathy, or mercy. The sick received no care, left like animals to suffer alone. Some were severely ill and passed away, one after another. When the wind blew and rainstorm, still shivering with the thin clothes, we could not beat the cold air. When work was not satisfied, punished us until we died. They called it fixing and took us away, though no one ever did return. Lived like animals, depressed and in pain, every individual. Some lost consciousness or became crazy because the pain was just too tremendous. And their families, separated in despair, isolated every day from each other. They left their loved ones behind like everyone else. So starting today, to all the Cambodian citizens, please learn and participate in politics and the news in all provinces and unite as one. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
In the chat section. Even if you didn't necessarily understand the concept of the words, it is so important and valuable for us to understand how storytelling shows up in all the art forms that we share. And we want you to understand that our hearts and minds, our encouragement and our spirit is all for the healing of our Cambodian community members here and abroad. We understand the depth of this story, which is why we understand the importance of mental health policy change and advocacy by all of the movement builders who are working here together. We honor you. We understand the sacredness of this story, and we will continue to forward on in the movement, not just for our own individual communities, but with deep awareness of the genocide happening to collective communities all around this globe. We thank you for that. All of those hearts are showing up. Those prayer hands are showing up, standing in solidarity. Because if we weren't aware before, we have a deeper sense of awareness now, and that is all what today is about. So thank you so much for that. For those of you here from Cambodian communities, put a number 4 in the chat section. Just represent that this is part of the mission and the purpose, that storytelling and that poetry deeply connects to part of your mission. You can see your community members. Feel free to reach out, create a side chat, do whatever it is you need to do to show your support. It's not just about our own cultural and oneness communities, but as today is about multi-equity, multi-racial, all of us moving together as a united front, as humankind. So we thank you for that. Very powerful indeed. And thank you for that translation, Amina. We appreciate that. There was some immediate concern in the chat sections. I know it sounds good, but they also want to know what is happening to be in full alignment with the message. We are very grateful for that. So next it's time for us to slide on to giving you a little bit more talking points about our agenda today. And I have them written down here. So allow me to break this down for you. In the introduction, there's a little bit of overlap. The introduction basically laid down the foundation and the tone of what today is about. All of the statewide orgs that have come together in partnership with community organizations to work on the policy changes, to do the shifts so that it trickles down and it shows up in real life for us, for our community members, and for some of our family members to make sure that we're receiving the mental health aid, the wellness, the circles, the healings, everything that we can provide for community members. But as we know, it starts with policy first. And with the shift of that policy, it gives us more access to provide to our community members and recipients who deserve it the most. I see a lot of folks taking to the chat section. Make sure that you know you can go to the links that are provided to look at the agenda in your languages so that you can follow along, just in case the closed captions or the translators are not effective for you. Please feel free to click the links so that you can see the agenda in your respective languages. So I want to give you these talking points to make sure that we check off all the important boxes, because we can get caught up in the vibration and the healing, but we want to make sure to handle business and make sure that these points come across very clearly. The second annual Right to Heal event is an opportunity for you advocates, power builders and movers throughout California to share in the work of multiracial mental health equity. This means we're breaking down barriers in the systems that we exist in, and we're breaking through. We're here to inspire action and overall, ultimately build community. Over the last 2 years, specifically throughout the pandemic, these cultural specific organizations across California have convened together, working in partnership, creating listening sessions, not just listening sessions, but deep intentional listening sessions all across California to hear directly from our California community members about the different issues that we're dealing with connected to mental health and the systems that we live in. Over 1,000 people. Put 100% in the comment section and give thanks for the participation of 1,000 people who have come together in these listening sessions. We are so very grateful for you, because each of one of you were generous with your thoughts, your ideas, and some of the information necessary for us to take it from you, extract it, and pull it all the way to the top, where the decision makers and the policy makers have to reform and make change to be inclusive for all. Now, these organizations are building power to co-create the overall mental health vision that we have here as a community, but it's also so that the extended community can receive information. How many times, put number 2 in the chat section, if you're working hard every day and then you run into everyday community members that have no idea that this work even exists. This is about uplifting you, supporting you, and spreading the word, right? Getting deeply connected within our communities. Now, today, you're going to hear directly from some of the community members that were involved in these thousands of participants, right? You're also going to hear what they learned. You're going to hear some testimonials, which also is going to serve as a mental and emotional decompression for you. One thing that we want to make sure of is that for those of you who are change makers and movement builders, is that you're not only fighting for community members to get access, you also have safe spaces and healing circles like today, like this experience, to get your emotional decompression, to do your emotional hygiene work, so that you also get the relief and the honor and the inclusion. Because oftentimes we can fight battles in the front line and we forget that we need these services for ourselves too. So as we celebrate all the hard work that you do, we also honor that you take time to care for your mind, to care for your body, and to care for your spirit in the way that the universe leads you to do that, right? And lastly, we want to let you know that this afternoon you'll hear from more organization members about the urgent and impending issues that are affecting our mental health wellness in our communities, and what California needs to do to really co-create and stand in solidarity in order to create this mental health vision that we have, right? This collective unity, this collective work and responsibility necessary to push these positive agendas through. We thank you for that. Let me check at the comment section. I see yes, yes, it is so. I see yes, snaps, hand claps. I love it. Thank you for the energy. As you know, sometimes with Zoom, again, it could be that one-way linear experience. So when you give me feedback, I hear the bravos, I see it all, and I receive all that information. I am simply here as a representative today of all the work that you have done collectively for the last 2 years. And again, we stand in gratitude, and we know that even when the work gets tiresome, even when we get a little worn out, even when we're feeling unheard, gratitude is the immediate attitude adjuster, and we offer and extend that to you. So up next, what we want to do is prepare for our keynote speaker. This keynote speaker is going to ground us in a way that brings spirituality to the forefront, that grounds us in a way that uplifts our community members, and ultimately helps us to deeply align with the theme and mission of mental health and the resilience that we are operating in. My beautiful humans, please take notes, please be attentive, and welcome our keynote speaker, who will introduce themselves as they grab the mic. Let's do it.
So everybody, thank you so much for your patience. Since we're hosting the in-person event, we have to physically move our participants over to the other room. So now, without further ado, we will get started. So please go ahead. Just ignore it.
Namaskar. I would like to pay respect to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and to the community, and to the most vulnerable. My name is Hao Ket. I reside in Wat Khmer Monastery, Lake Elsinore. I'm a Bhikkhu Theravada Buddhist monk. And today's topic, we can cover about the mental illness and the resilience, how to change our way of thinking of this disease that happen all over the world. In all practice, we enjoy having community coming, give them blessing, such as a water blessing. That's mostly our tradition. But the main tool in all practice is the meditation, especially into vipassana meditation. I will give some brief idea how to practice it, how to follow up the practice, and how to change our way of living with the mental illness. We, as a community of the Cambodian community, about 90% of us are Buddhists. 10%, 5% Muslim, and Christianity. We practice Buddhism because our heritage actually is from India. Our culture shared through Indian culture as a Hindus. But Buddha arrived in the early 1200s. We both share Hindu and Buddhism. That's our practice. Now, the topic of mental illness. We all experience mental illness, whether small, large, tiny, big. All of us have stress, depression. How we, as a community, in all practice, most of us go to the temple. One is to listen to the Dhamma, the teaching of the Buddha, to eat. Two is to learn the chanting of the Pali to release the stress, to clarify the mind. And three, the most important, is the meditation. And meditation is the main tool in Buddhist practice. It takes very little effort to do it and very little time. Something so simple that most of us forgot that it exists. We live in a society that is distracted by technology, by social network. All the stuff create imbalance because we abuse the tool, the technology. We abuse the social network. It's supposed to be the convenient to live freely, conveniently. But we got so addicted to express our own self, creating deluded mind that we become mindfulness. We forgot to become mindfulness. In our practice is to generate that mindfulness so that we can deal with all this pressure. I always have community coming to the temple. They never give me a good news I win the lotto. They always, Mom, I got issue with my wife. I got issue with my work. Never heard of I won the lotto. But of course, I have to listen and deal with them. And that's what's the great thing about having a monastery or a place as a community is that there's a priest or a monk or a nun or a wise man to be there and trying to ease the pain. And that's what we do in our practice, in our community, that we listen. First step is to listen to them. Second is to have them guide them through basic common sense in our practice, sharing from our experience, from our practice, from the Buddha that discovered 2,000 plus years ago, and that is still alive today. It's help humanity as a whole to live in peace. And that's all we want. Am I right? We want to live in peace regardless. We want to live in prosperity. We want to live in a community that loves and cares. But we got so distracted by our human basic needs. Everything we want is just keep on getting, one, and that's to create the chaos within our own mindfulness. We should be more conserved, understanding that if we just live within our need, but not the want, because the want is never enough. It's never enough. If you become a billionaire, you want to become a trillionaire. If you want to become a trillionaire, you want to go to the mall, right? Someone did try to go to the mall or out of this world. Because the desire for wanting is never enough. But if we live with just the basic needs, have a roof, clothes, good health care, simple as that, right? Simple as that. When we just live based on just the need, we live more happier. We enjoy life. We enjoy community. We enjoy sharing kindness. I wanted to share this little story that I have. As a refugee from Cambodia, most of us have mental illness. We might not acknowledge it, but most of us does. Because we came from a genocide war that creates for nothing but greed, destruction. I came here 1984. I was raised here, about 19 years old. And I'm more American than my own native. I have a job, have everything. But at the end, it's never enough. We came from a good boy to a bad boy, now to being a monk. Because I see that we all can live if we just live in with just the basic needs. A cell phone, a technology is a tool. for convenience, it's for communication. If used wisely, it benefits. But if you abuse it, you intoxicate other influence. The last 2 years, we see social media, social communication, that is all create chaos because we forgot about living among themselves. In this, I want to close in the Paula chanting and blessing all beings and all those whole community. Thank you. นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะเจยันโตปุติยมุเลสักยานังนนเตวัตโนเอวังควังวจโยเฮาปัจยะสุจยะแมงกะเลอปาราชิตาปาลังเกไสเสปัทวิปาวคาเรอภิเสเกสาปะโพธินังอาเกปาตาวปะมาวติตสุเนะขัดตังสุแมงกะเลงสุปเพียตังสโอติตังสกนาวสมโอตาวจุสยะแทงพระมจาริสุปเตทินังกายกรรมังเวจากรรมังปะเตทินังปะเตทินังมโนกรรมังปนทีเตปะเตทินาปะเตทินานิกาตวานลพันตเทปะเตเกเนสาปิตยาวิวาจันตสาเปโรโกวินาสตุเมียเตเภวะตวันตารายาวสไขตีเขียยุกาวเภวะอภิเวตนะไสเลงสเนจังบทเทียปจายินาวจัตตาเราแถมเมียวาทันเตอายุวานาวโสแข็งเปลงเตอัตลเทียสกตาวิรลหาปวดสาสเนอารเกียสกตาเฮาตสาสาเปไอเนียตทินแลตังลายแตงโบรอแตงสตรีโลโจลบานเนาพระยาวบ้านเนาสกไดสองโจจมรานขนองพระปวดศาสนาโจกำเอาเมียนโรเอาบ้านเนาสกไดสอกโปรมตังเนียตังลายกรกนีสวรรณโมเดนีสาธุสาธุสาธุ
Venerable Pao Keth, thank you so much. The Venerable Pao Keth, we thank you so much. For those of you tuning in later in the middle of our wonderful keynote, this is the Venerable Pao Keth. Put V Pow Pow in the chat section if there was at least one thing that resonated with you, right? A true wise leader always knows that there's more than one way to convey a message, whether it's the seriousness and the intensity of wisdom by calming the voice and directly aligning with you, whether it's the joke and the humor, whether it's a story. Our keynote speaker is telling us a bit of the history, the contemporary experience, and what the practices are necessary. Put a number 2 in the chat box if the part where our Venerable Pao spoke to us about undetected mental health with our community members, right? Acknowledging that we've gone through struggle, but not directly connecting it to clear and concise conversations that allow us to be vulnerable and say, this has become a mental health issue. It's beautiful to be resilient. It's beautiful to survive, but the aftermath, the side effects are what need high-level attentiveness and care. And this is what our deep reminder is about. We thank you. I see the pow pows. I see the 2s showing up in the chat box. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. And I want you to embody that, take that information in and take that message and deliver it to your respective community members in your circles after you leave today. So what we're going to do right now is I I wanted to slide in a beat under that last chant because I felt like that last chant has some rhythm to it. I don't know, V-Power, we might need to get together and mix and master stuff with DJ Gitana. If you will, DJ Gitana, please come and represent. We're going to have a 5-minute break, spin a few tracks, lift up the energy before we come back for the next big, exciting event in our agenda today. 5-minute break, handle your body, do your deep breathing, and listen to DJ Gitana. Take it away. If there was one track that you like, name the tune that you've heard so far from DJ Gitana in the chat box. Represent your favorite tune that's been in rotation. We know that sound is healing. We know that dancing and movement is healing, and we are so very grateful for you and your bright colors. And I saw you over there cha-chaing and doing a little twist out. I see you, and we appreciate you for bringing sound to this space. Let's see. Lelaine says, Shaka, sweet thing. Yes, indeed. That's one of my mama's favorite songs. So now it is time for us to transition to one of two of the big activities that we have for you today. And as I mentioned earlier, the statewide orgs, the community orgs working in partnership did a lot of deep listening. And now we're going to transition into our panel discussion activity. Now I want to read these notes to you to make sure that you're clear and that you understand where to go and how to operate from this point on. In this panel discussion, members from different cultural communities will share their lived experience with mental health and wellness. The community members will share the stories of their communities, what they've learned, specifically the struggles, and what they've achieved in some of the work in racial equity and what it actually looks like in action. And lastly, we'll be providing a break in the middle of this panel discussion. So it's slated for an hour and a half, but because we honor your body and the necessity for movement, there'll be a 45-minute break within this panel discussion by your panel discussion facilitator. So you should have received invitations to go into this breakout. Give a number 1 if you're clear on where to go and what you need to do to get to this breakout, specifically for the community member panel with Jody. Put a number 1 in the chat box. You should see the invitations that are popping up so you know where to go.
Breakout.
Oh, no, not a breakout. This is the keynote. This is the main keynote. Pardon me. Breakouts are next. So this is our main time. Again, there will be a 45-minute break at 45 minutes, and then you will return to this panel. And so we want to go ahead and transition now. Be mindful, take notes. If there's someone that speaks that has some insight or sounds like they have information, ask their name, take notes. Go into the direct messages and connect. We're not just here to lift the space one time. We're here to operate with a deep continuum. So if you connect and resonate, make sure to reach out. Once again, it is time for us to have our community member panel. Jody, take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jody Geddes. I serve as the Healing Services Manager with Restorative Justice for Oakland Youth. I am excited to be here with you all today and just thank you for the invitation to be able to hold this space. I had a really incredible time connecting with each of the speakers. We had meetings over, I guess, the last 2 to 3 weeks, one-on-one meetings with all 4 of the speakers. And I just found it really important to create space, not just to invite them into the panel, but also get to know who they are, maybe beyond some of the meetings and the share outs and the reports. And so I'm just super excited to be in community with folks today. I want to name that this is really about not just sharing the professional, but the personal, as Audre Lorde would say, right? Like the personal is also political. And so creating an opportunity as we gather during our time together to create space for all of our speakers to share a little bit about themselves, in addition to just some of the work and what they've learned. And finally, we'll close out by creating some space for dreaming for you, but also for our speakers to really think a little bit about what does a world where health and racial equity look like? And I'm giving you that question now so that you also have some time to think about that as we extend that invitation to our speakers. Before we begin our time together, as you've seen throughout this whole program, really creating space for reflection. And so I want to start with a piece by Adrienne Maree Brown that I continue to carry with me especially in challenging moments. And it feels like the last 3 to 4 years has been that challenging moment. And so this is a piece from the writer, the activist, the incredible Adrienne Marie Brown, and it's called Radical Gratitude Spell. And in this moment, I invite you to focus on your breath or do whatever it is that you need to do for yourself as I share these words before we get into our main panel in this moment. And so she writes, a spell to cast upon meeting a stranger, comrade, or friend working for social and or environmental justice and liberation. You are a miracle walking. I greet you with wonder. In a world which seeks to own your imagination and your joy, you have chosen to be free every day as a practice. I can never know the struggles you went through to get here, but I know you have swum upstream, and at times it has been lonely. I want you to know I honor the choices you made in solitude, and I honor the work you have done to belong. I honor your commitment to that which is larger than yourself and your journey to love the particular container of life that is you. You are enough. Your work is enough. You are needed. Your work is sacred. You are here, and I am grateful. Ashe. So thank you all again for allowing me to create this space with us today. I'm excited to invite Mr. Hawk, JL, Grisel, and Ginger to be with us today in conversation. And I'm wondering if tech can cue folks up on the screen if you're able to pin speakers as well. And so we've kind of skipped the bios very intentionally for our time together, because I actually want to create space for our speakers to define themselves and to define their stories, because we know that there's so much more to people than what we're often reading in a bio, no matter how great those bios are. So I want to be able to name that piece. And so the kind of question that we're opening up with for our time together is for folks to tell us the story of your community. And so right now, I invite whoever feels led to speak first to tell us the story of your community while also introducing yourself. So I invite our speakers to go ahead and share in this moment. I can choose who goes first, but if you feel like, yes, JL, did you just unmute yourself?
I did.
All right, go ahead, do your thing.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is JL. I am a pretrial justice organizer for Decarcerate Sacramento. I am a community advocate for folks who cannot advocate for themselves, whether they are, in jail or unhoused, just people in general. I am a mother, a student, a little bit of this and that. And do I answer that question or? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, jump right in.
So I just want to say that, so when I think of community, it doesn't always mean the one that I live in, just really the ones that I support. A community where my people reside is my community. The community that I have dived in over the last couple of years is the one in Sacramento County. Reason being is I'm personally invested in this community. I have a loved one that is in the Sacramento County Jail currently and has been in there for about 3.5 years pre-trial. He has suffered from COVID-19 at least 3 times while in there. And obviously that added to his mental health. Along with so many others who are in the jail and throughout the Black community. I say the jails and throughout the Black community. I say the Black communities because those are the ones who have it the worst due to the lack of proper health care. I can say that I've definitely experienced mental health stress during this pandemic for a number of reasons. If I can get a little personal, one being my father, he passed away 1 year ago yesterday from COVID. And I honestly don't believe he received adequate care. I then have my loved one who was really sick with COVID at one point, and due to so many deaths inside the jail and outside, I worried that he would be next. I have yet to get treatment because of the cost, of course, and the fact that I wear so many hats: mom, daughter, wife, advocate, organizer, that I don't think I've really sat down long enough to process it at all. I do think that it's important to receive mental health treatment if you can, because if you have a breaking point, we all have that breaking point, and you don't want to reach that. Like I was saying, yesterday was my dad's anniversary, and I think that that's when I realized that it is definitely time to, try to get that treatment. Whether, I mean, like I said, in this community, it's really hard. It's easier to, I guess, unfortunately, deal with it than it is, to be able to afford that treatment or find a place that is right for you. Talking or speaking as a woman of color, I can't just go anywhere to receive treatment. I need to speak to someone who has lived experience, or knows about someone like me. So that is my answer. I'm sorry, that was kind of long.
Remember, we don't do sorries, right? In our group, it's all right, whatever speaks to you and whatever is invited into the space. And thank you for sharing that deeply, because I know, it's 217 of us, right? And that's not light to be able to share. And, we lift up your father's name and legacy, and, in our tradition, say ashe to that. So thank you for speaking into that. And thank you for also speaking first, because I know we talked about that, which is why I was like, did you unmute? So thank you for, I think also the
I
brave.
felt compelled. It was so beautiful, just everything that's been going on. So I felt compelled to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Would anyone, I guess which of our other speakers would like to jump right in, kind of tell us who you are and the story of your community? Thank you, JL, for kicking us off. Feel free to unmute and share.
Oh, no.
I can pass it over. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, Ginger. Does that work? Feel free to unmute, tell us who you are, and share the story of your community.
Eyang Ajane Formalio, Hostwest Tatunk Nasmats Foliet, Setia no Jink Cunning Yale. Natinuk don't suchtapne in Hayaste Chink Nayan, Dapolal Ding Ceylon, Wahonta Ding Nachnin Wuhi Yaholiet, Adets Nikiao, Julian Jamal, Takin Riachet Yaholiet Kiach Daket Duanchet, Hunsis Kiku, Ninasan Nalai. One string Natina Hoy Kiwan Yan Aante, Watat Yamantil Aante. Wamaliot na en yat delt set me dilting taikanishting hayasyo din yamanching. Natinu huachonta metroyat set te control chul dechich ming nauchte. We don't kiwen yat nyan mechanechen. Menek it's unit in kichtwe auchte. It's the lan kiwen yat nyan yat chane te nuhonge. It's don't high kitchen nich window hoslete. It's don't formalio nuhonge aya ante. My name is Ginger, and I'm a Hoopa woman and mother of 5 beautiful children. I grew up on the Hoopa Reservation in the uppermost part of rural Northern California. I knew our life expectancy rate was lower than those around us. I also knew we couldn't expect fair treatment at the only hospitals available to us, more than an hour's drive away. I come from a community, Kiwinyaanyan. The Hoopa Valley Reservation is the largest land-based Indian reservation in California, 12 square miles. Kiwinyaanyan refers to acorn eaters, California native peoples. We share much of our physical and spiritual space with our neighboring tribes, namely the Yurok and the Karuk. I come from the most beautiful territory. This is our home, Natinuh, the place where the trails return, the stars shine bright and the waters flow with might. Time immemorial. I hear this in the voice of my elders, echoed through the voice of our children, our past and our future in this timeless space. Our bloodline, Haihan Nilin, the Trinity River flowing through the center of our valley, the home of our relatives and life givers, Tlok, the salmon. As the smoke from our ceremonial fires continue to burn, the scent of Mechach Holen or Angelica root fulfills our every need. Songs radiate amidst the silhouettes of the fir trees that guide and protect us. Songs from times before a power button or "Hey Siri, play some music." The songs of our ancestors recycle through our energies to distribute the medicine that heals. We're here today for a much needed community conversation regarding mental health. To reflect on the beauty of the land, people, and culture of my community, it's impossible to not feel the incredible need for acknowledgement and consideration regarding our mental health. Talk about walking in two worlds. From a place we know is ours, the sense of our fire, the sand and trails that our ancestors walked, through the door into a building that we now feel is not designed for us, we're a stranger. Can we talk about our problems? We know we need help. How do we connect the two? Like the keynote speaker said, right? We all have mental health issues. We're human. We have a nervous system. Gabor Mate says, trauma is not what happened to you, it's what happened in you. Our bodies react to all of these experiences, and genetic memory says there's more than you know, right? Some of our challenges in our community, small community, very small and very rural, is a lack of professionalism, lack of confidentiality, high turnover rates, cultural insensitivities. If you find somebody that resonates, they don't stay for long. You have to retell, and so the progress is not strong. Time immemorial. As we bear the trauma through genetic memory, we also bear the resilience and strength through our DNA. We have the right to heal. We all have the right to heal. Satya.
Thank you so much, Ginger. Just thank you, once again, just for jumping right in and sharing that. And I am really grateful that the rest of the, community is able to witness what I witnessed, with all of you in just a phone call, right? Like, y'all don't know me, and I'm like, let's set up this meeting. We're going to have a community member panel, right? And being able to trust me to say, I share my story with you, and I'm open to sharing my story with others. And I'll probably keep repeating that. I'm like on the verge of tears. I'm like, Lord, because, this is often what our funders don't get to see, right? And also, we don't want our pain to be kind of like Black paint against a white canvas just for spectacle or performance. These are the lived experiences and stories. And I think you and JL have already named that. So thank you for that. In full transparency, Mr. Hawk is going to go last because we have some technical behind the scenes that we're working through. So I'm going to share that with you all to hold our space and everyone else. So Grisel, I'm actually going to go ahead and pass it on to you just to let us know who you are and share a little bit about the story of your community. Thank you for being with us again.
Sí, buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Grisel Rosales y soy residente de el condado de San Diego, específicamente la ciudad de Vista. Y soy también, como dijo Jael, un poquito de todo. Soy un líder comunitario de aquí de Poder Popular y también soy mamá, soy esposa y también soy estudiante. Estoy muy agradecida por estar aquí en este lugar. Puedo decir acerca de hablar sobre la salud mental. Voy a ir de lo particular a lo general. Y porque esto relata de la experiencia que yo tengo y yo sé que muchos se pueden identificar dentro de la comunidad latina. Estaba comentando con unas personas que un miembro familiar mío estaba batallando con la ansiedad y depresión. Entonces, años atrás yo le decía solamente, no te enfoques en eso, sigue adelante, ora, vamos, yo sé que tú puedes, no le pongas tanta atención en eso. Pero entendí hace poco tiempo, más que nada específicamente en el 2020, que me recordé hace años atrás de mi vida que como adolescente yo también sufrí en un tiempo de depresión, con pensamientos suicidas, pero yo sé que todos somos diferentes, que todos venimos también de circunstancias diferentes. Y para mí la actitud que yo tomé cuando tenía esos pensamientos era hacer algo, sacar toda esa energía o más bien, porque nunca yo me quedé en la cama, pero sí pude, todo eso que yo sentía, todos esos sentimientos, transferirlos en algo positivo, como en el deporte, en escribir, en, no sé, hacer algo. Mucho interacción con la naturaleza. Entonces, ahora que estoy en este momento de mi vida, puedo entender que mucha de nuestra comunidad latina solamente no hemos llegado al punto en que tenemos el que reconocer que existe la depresión y la ansiedad, porque muchas veces solamente decimos, oh, no, todo va a estar bien, inclusive si vemos a las personas que están en su cama, no haciendo nada, o los decimos, les ponemos, los estereotizamos como que, oh, son flojos, no quieres hacer nada, yo también estuve ahí, como que generalizamos, la salud mental, no hemos llegado al punto de reconocer, pero yo sé que estamos en un comienzo, este es un comienzo, como le decía a las personas, ah, el que ya se haga este tipo de conferencias o de paneles donde podemos venir a expresar, es que estamos interesados y que estamos eh, empezando a reconocer que sí está pasando, que es algo real, que no es de ahorita, es de siempre. Como lo dijo, somos seres humanos, pero yo creo que ya estamos un paso adelante con simplemente el reconocer y educarnos, más que nada en mi comunidad puedo ver, el educarnos. Hay muchas personas que no tienen, principalmente, volvemos a lo mismo. Puedo ver a los trabajadores del campo, trabajadores en los trabajos ahora sí que duros, ¿no? La construcción, los que están poniendo los techos, o sea, infinidad que muchas veces como latinos no venimos, si no nos educamos, si no venimos a pedir ayuda para la salud física, mucho menos pedimos ayuda para la salud mental. Y como que muchas veces todavía es un mito o un tabú eso de la ansiedad y la depresión. Pero vuelvo a lo mismo, les doy gracias por estar reconociendo este tema y estar educándonos, porque eso es algo primordial y eso es lo que yo veo en mi comunidad. El educarnos, el estar abiertos y el no generalizar que solamente una solución, como por ejemplo a mí me funcionó, el estar haciendo cosas, en este caso la pandemia, mi solución fue ir y empezar un jardín de suculentas. O sea, siempre enviar esa energía o algo para hacer algo positivo. Hay otras personas que no lo hacen. Y tenemos que entender como comunidad que lo que a mí me funcionó no le va a funcionar a los demás, sino que hay diferentes fuentes de información y fuentes de ayuda, recursos en donde podemos ayudarnos. Este, pues por lo pronto es todo lo que quisiera compartir. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Grisel. And I'm even, just hearing all across the board as all of you shared the importance of acknowledgement, right? Acknowledgement as this first step of that there needs to be a shift, and also then thinking about how to create sustainable ways to continue to support folks that isn't reliant upon one grant, one program, one person, because there's this way that we have to continue to retell our stories that might not help lead to solutions or changes. And so thank you all for naming that sometimes it is easier, even if the body doesn't feel like it's easy, right, to get through every day. It feels easier sometimes to not address and acknowledge what is there, and that all of these things are connected to a legacy before us, which, y'all already know from our phone calls, I could go down the rabbit hole, but I won't. So thank you all for just naming and sharing that. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Hawk just to share a little bit about who you are, as well as the story of your community. So thank you again for being with us. Are you able? Go ahead. Perfect.
យ៉ាងឲ្យខ្ញុំនិយាយហ្នឹងហ៎
Yes.
ខ្ញុំឈ្មោះហុកបូរីបានមករស់នៅ Orange Country ហ្នឹងរយៈពេល7ឆ្នាំហើយមករស់នៅស្រុកអាមេរិកហ្នឹងគឺដោយសារកូនធានា
Hi, so my name is Mala. I'll be helping him with English translation. So what he said earlier, he said he said hello everyone, and his name is Bori Hop, and he's come to the US by able to come to this country because he got sponsored by his family.
អ្នកខ្លះទៀតដែលគេមករស់នៅនេះហ្នឹងគឺក្នុងចំនួន70ហើយនឹង80ហ្នឹងគឺមកតាមជំរំក្នុងរបបខ្មែរក្រហម
So what he said earlier is that majority of Cambodian people who come to the United States, most of them are come through like to escape the Khmer Rouge and also to escape the civil war from Cambodia country during the 70s.
ខ្ញុំមករស់នៅកន្លែងនេះស្រួលបានសមាគមគ្រួសារខ្មែរជួយច្រើនណាស់ជួយតាំងពី apply citizen ជួយតាំង full time ជួយតាំងពីជូនទៅពេទ្យបកប្រែភាសាអីខ្លះច្រើនដូច្នេះសមាគមខ្មែរបានជួយច្រើនណាស់ហើយលក្ខនឹងលក្ខ
He said that after he immigrated to the United States, he was able to receive a lot of support from the Cambodian family in Santa Ana. So the agency was able to help him with like applying for medical, translation at the doctor office, and many other benefits. Right now, his life is very, it's getting really better compared to before.
ប៉ុន្តែនៅរយៈពេលសម័យមានកូវីដហ្នឹងគឺក្នុងសមាគមកន្លែងខ្ញុំហ្នឹងគឺក្នុងរដ្ឋ country របស់ខ្ញុំហ្នឹងមានការរើសអើងតិចតួចចំពោះជនជាតិអាស៊ីដោយសារថាយើងហ្នឹងគឺមេរោគកូវីដហ្នឹងមកពីចិនមកពីអាស៊ីហើយដល់នេះពួកខ្ញុំគឺជាជនជាតិកម្ពុជាទេគឺដូចអត់ដឹងមានការរើសអើងតិចតួចដូច្នេះពួកខ្ញុំអត់បានចេញទៅក្រៅច្រើនទេចេញទៅមានការភ័យខ្លាចតិចតួចបាទសូមអរគុណ
So he also touched on like as for right now during the pandemic and stuff, it's a bit difficult for him as a Cambodian because he's also facing a lot of problem as well. And I believe what he want to say is also related to the second question as well. Would you mind to asking him the second question first so that he could touch on more in detail?
Yeah, the second question about tell us the story of your community, or number 2 from our prep.
Okay. So ពូគាត់និយាយថាសំណួរទី2ហ្នឹងវិញគេចង់ឲ្យពូនិយាយពីថាឲ្យដូចព័ត៌មានវាក្នុងរយៈពេល2ឆ្នាំហ្នឹងក្នុងដូច COVID ក្នុងអីហ្នឹងពូឃើញខាងសហគមន៍ផ្សេងៗគេមានប្រឈមមុខជាមួយបញ្ហាច្រើនដល់ពេលអញ្ចឹងគេសួរថាតើមានបញ្ហាអីខ្លះដែលសហគមន៍ផ្សេងហ្នឹងគេប្រឈមមុខហើយទៅវាប៉ះពាល់ដល់ខាងសហគមន៍យើងដែរចាអញ្ចឹងទៅពូជួយនិយាយកន្លែងប្រយោគមិញដែលពូនិយាយម្ដងទៀតនិយាយដូចប៉ះពាល់ដល់គេមើលងាយឬក៏អីចឹងម្ដងទៀតណាពូ
បញ្ហានេះដូចខ្ញុំនិយាយរឿងដដែលហ្នឹងគឺបញ្ហានៅខាងនេះខ្ញុំហ្នឹងវាស្បោច្រើនជាងគេហ្នឹងពួកមិចកូហេតុដល់ឆ្នេះគេសង្ស័យពួកខ្ញុំហ្នឹងពួកអាស៊ីហ្នឹងគេថាជនជាតិចិនដូច្នេះគេមានការរើសអើងពីការកុកជំនាន់កូវីដតិចតួចហ្នឹងមិនសាច់រឿងនៅកន្លែងខ្ញុំមានតែបញ្ហាប៉ុណ្្នឹងទេបាទសូមអរគុណ
He said that during this past 2 years, for him personally, he been noticed that most of the Asian community they've been facing a lot of racial discrimination. For example, for Chinese community, as for some people, they believe that the pandemic, or we call it COVID-19 virus, it's caused by like Chinese people. And then for some people, they believe it like that. And then they cannot differentiate between, Chinese people and Cambodian people. And they believe all Asian people are Chinese. So for him personally, he said this problem is not only affect Chinese community, but it's also affect Cambodian community. It also affects other Southeast Asian community. So and for him personally, he also feels scared when he had to, go out to work and also go to other places as well.
ដល់ចូលសំណួរទី3ហ៎
ចាំតិចអស់វាសួរសំណួរទី3ទៀត So I have a question. Pretty much what he said earlier is to answer question number 2, and for question number 3, did you already asking him the question, or do you want to repeat the question one more time?
We didn't ask it yet, but we can move on to question number 2. Does that work?
Yes, so pretty much he already touched on all the question. He already answered all question number 1 and 2.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Mala. So thank you for sharing that. And it's thank you for also sharing your experiences during this pandemic, the impact on you and your community. And I'm sure there's so many others on this panel that can speak to this as JL opened us up into that. So I spoke a little bit about we want to give space for folks to define who they are. And we also want to think about what kind of resistance and resilience has looked like. And so creating space for folks to kind of think about maybe what you witness within another community, right? So we know about our communities, but maybe a challenge you witness in another community, and maybe what you learned from that. And once again, thinking widely about what community is. So that could be within your family, that could be where you live, where you are showing up in service of others. And so I invite folks to think about that kind of a challenge you may have witnessed, and what did you learn from that community? So anyone can feel free. Actually, let me give you all a moment to think about that so that you can feel like you have a moment. I'll share that in a lot of the work that I do with Arjuna around creating space for healing circles. What I've really appreciated about a lot of our partners in community is the way that they didn't lean into fear, right? And it allowed me to create space to really support my staff and other partners to just really be able to lean in, right? In that moment when you're saying, okay, we can't technically stop all programming because certain funders will still require you to write a report, right? How do you support people to show up in service while also having challenges navigating the pandemic? And I feel like there are some partners in community who leaned into that very well, where they were able to continue to show up for families and at the same time continue to support staff in their wellness. And so I think about in my staff meetings, we often ask people, we always do a check-in about how people are doing, but we also ask what do they need in order to be well during this time of working from home, right? So not just what you need, or how you're doing to fulfill a role or responsibility, but your wellness. And so we have a self-care fund. Some of you know I have a 3-year-old, and through the self-care fund, I was able to purchase a jogger because I like to run, right? And that many places don't offer that for folks, but for me, that was a part of my mental health and my mental wellness to have family time, and also not be afraid to go outside. And so just thinking about how I saw partners and colleagues really lean into wellness that centered us not as workers, but as full human beings, and continue to do that, withstanding not just COVID-19, but many of the other things that continue to follow. So that's for me what comes up, a reflection around how do we center wellness and care in ways that don't have to be about indulgence, although I might like to indulge a few times, that it is a part of what it means to be in relationship to others in all things. So that's what I would offer to the group. And I would love to just hear others share maybe about what they witnessed, from another community and maybe what they learned. And once again, community could be friends, family, or those you are serving. So whoever feels led to go ahead and start, I'll pass it over to you.
I think some of, for myself personally, and it hasn't been this clear across the community just because we're very rural. So internet service is challenging. But personally, I found a lot of connection and strength in online communities. A lot of the online resources that became available, there were Native American youth called All My Relations, where they started meeting weekly and they would get together and create kits and mail them to families. I have 5 children. So that was something that really worked out for us during the pandemic when we are isolated, to be able to have something that we could depend on, right? And a place and a space to be able to come together and see other Native families and do Native arts and crafts. And they always have each of the children introduce themselves, what tribe they're a part of, and they end it with, and I'm proud of who I am. And so to see like my 4-year-old saying, you know, their name and like, I'm Hoopa and I'm proud of who I am. And I'd hear them playing in the room and they would say those things. And this is something that is, you know, when we talk about mental health and the stigma, the trauma, the things that we experience and the ability to be able to talk about these things together, you know, we're just starting these conversations in what the last decade. So to be able to say, I'm proud of who I am, on the screen, like we see all of our faces and everybody introduces and ends with that. And through a weekly meeting, there was just this growth that I'll be forever grateful for. And then I also have a mother's online group that started that I was invited to, and they have, it's fundthatbe.com. I'll just put it in the chat for anybody who wants to check it out. But it's a mother's group who started this and it's meeting. And I think the online community was a space to be able to meet together while we were isolated and to be able to share stories. Because a lot of times it's like, oh, whoa, you know I'm struggling really bad, but if we share a little bit of our challenges and like, oh, you have the same struggle, well, this is what I do. This is, you know, that relatedness helped to boost a little bit of stamina, I guess. And the Fund That Be was this collection of these mothers, pandemic moms who came together and they donate. So we just, you know, every week put money in and then somebody, a mom who's struggling can request some financial support. And whatever's donated every week, there's somebody randomly selected or based on, there's domestic violence, there's just self-care, there's, you know, unmet needs, and that money will just all go. And it's kind of just like a filter, it's just recycled. So I think these 2 online communities are a space that really helped me and my family to navigate through the pandemic in a way that I haven't really experienced elsewhere. It takes out the personal part, you know, we're just all people trying to get by and we connect and our children have friendships forever. So I hope that I answered the question. That's what kind of has been on my mind on that.
No worries. It is beautiful to hear that. And I think about the importance of, you know, what it means to have young children participate in that affirming and knowing of who they are. And so many times we say young people, right? And it tends to be children who are older, but what does it also mean to recognize the gifts that younger children have? For me, you know, I have a 3-year-old who continues to teach me about what joy really is and allows me to tap into that. So thank you for sharing that, Ginger. Would anyone else like to share? Feel free to unmute and to jump right in.
I'll jump in. I'd like to touch on like 2 different things. One being, I know that like as a parent, I am a parent. I have 4 kids, and you know, you never really think about how important and how much a teacher does until this pandemic hit. And then we had to become teachers and work our day-to-day lives and, you know, try to be superheroes. And it was really stressful, you know, mentally, physically, everything. But I must say that my children's school, a bunch of teachers got together and they started like a group where they were able to, you know, get on the computers with these children and say, here, parents, you know, give yourself a little bit of time to do whatever it is, go read a book for an hour or whatever, you know, whatever it is. And we will we will entertain these kids for an hour, whether it's tutoring, you know, just talking and checking on their mental health, because we tend not to necessarily worry about that because we think that your kids are happy or playing games or what have you, and we don't check on that. And it's really important to have somebody that, you know, the children can speak to so that we make sure that they're okay, because there are so many kids who have literally lost their life during this pandemic, you know, because they were stressed out and nobody asked them, were they okay, you know? So that's one. And then two, I want to touch on, like I was saying, I'm from Decarcerate Sacramento. During the pandemic, what we have been doing was folks that are incarcerated, we were putting money on their books, sending them books to read during this time. When they would contact us, you know, their family members, we would send stipends to them, you know, to help them out, because it's hard. It was hard for so many people, especially folks who could not work, where they got laid off of their jobs because of the pandemic. So I just think that when we come together as a community, we make so much noise, and I love it.
Thank you, JL, for sharing that. Grisel, would you also like to jump in and share?
Yes. Primero quiero decirle a Ginger que estoy muy, no quiero decir orgullosa, pero muy contenta y quiero decirle que es algo hermoso que lo que hicieron en su grupo con los niños y que ellos están reconociendo su identidad y dónde pertenecen. O sea, identidad y pertenencia, que creo que es algo fundamental en el desarrollo de todo ser humano. Entonces, desde ella está partiendo o están haciendo algo, un parteaguas para hacer algo diferente en estas nuevas generaciones. Y estoy muy contenta por eso lo que están haciendo en su comunidad. Gracias. La otra cosa es en cuanto respecta a lo de la pandemia, fue para nuestra comunidad latina lo que pude presenciar es algo muy tremendo, algo muy fuerte, porque nosotros como latinos somos de comunidad, nosotros somos de expresión de amor, de cariño, de abrazo, de baile, de ruido, de todo eso. Entonces el estar apartados uno del otro fue muy difícil. Honestamente, lo que yo pude presenciar en mi caso, en mi familia, lo que hicimos fue para estar conectados con la familia es las videollamadas. En mi comunidad con la iglesia también estar juntos por medio de las llamadas. Pero para otra parte que yo pude presenciar también es que sorry. Oh, ok. Sorry. Pero ¿sí? Ok, por otra parte, sorry. Disculpen. Por otra parte de la comunidad, honestamente, pues voy a decir la verdad, porque es lo que yo presencié, que no se respetaron las reglas y pues es muy difícil, como lo vuelvo a decir, demasiado difícil para nosotros los latinos estar apartados, honestamente. Inclusive las familias son muy, muy grandes y la familia extendida no es familia extendida. Nosotros no reconocemos eso. Nosotros familia es familia. No hay familia extendida. Es mi familia. Mis abuelos son mi familia cercana, todo eso. Entonces, seguir igual con juntándonos. Por otra parte, pues nosotros, mi familia, lo que se refiere a mi familia de mi hogar, ¿verdad? No hicimos eso, tratamos de respetar las reglas, tratamos de respetar el aislamiento, pero sí fue muy difícil, fue difícil el estar apartados y como yo le decía, lo que yo en este aspecto hice para volver a toda esa energía o todo eso, ¿verdad? En algo positivo, transformarlo en algo positivo fue empezar un jardín de suculentos. Entonces, para mí es muy importante la naturaleza cuando voy a mis plantas y empiezo yo a hablar con ellas, les agradezco por sus flores, les agradezco por estar verdes, por gracias. Entonces fue algo muy importante para mí que me ayudó a estar en armonía, por así decirlo. Traía armonía a mi vida, pero en realidad, los grupos, como comentaba Yael y Ginger, no tuve la oportunidad de participar y también me involucré en Poder Popular. Tengo un año de estar como participante en este grupo de voluntarios y eso también estar cada semana con las juntas, con los entrenamientos, con la educación, educándonos, fue algo muy importante para mí y hay incluso compañeras que dicen que eso para ellas era el estar conectados por medio de Zoom, aunque sea escucharnos las voces por una u otra razón cada semana, eso les motivaba y daba de cierta manera una esperanza de que todo iba a estar bien, de estar educándonos, de que pues esperando que la pandemia un día iba a terminar, ¿verdad? Entonces, es todo lo que puedo compartir. Gracias.
Thank you, Grisel. And I also want to acknowledge in different ways how you all have also talked about connection to land, right? And I think that's important as a part of our vision of healing. There's a lot of research around ecotherapy, and many of our communities, honestly, have been disconnected from land in ways that were very much intentional and systemic. And so thank you all for uplifting that. I think about in Ardra's work, we're in Oakland, we have a farm, not maybe what you're thinking off the top of your head, but a house that's on land. And it was really important to us to think about how young people and those we're in relationship with could have access to that. And it's called Ubuntu, I am because we are. And so I just wanted to uplift that and think about some of the photos I have and moments where young people are, stewards of the land, and also as a part of our work, in restorative justice from an Afrocentric Indigenous lens, what does it mean to also connect with the original stewards of that land? And that's a part of our process towards healing. And so I want to acknowledge and be able to name that sometimes there's this idea of discovery of new places, right? And systems have taught people to extract from them rather than just recognizing the opportunity to witness that land and what it is able to do and be. And so thank you all for sharing that in many different ways. We are going to take about a 5-minute break. And when we come back from that break for coffee, bio, whatever it is that you need to do, when we come back from that break, we're gonna invite questions and reflections. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So we might have about 3 people share. I already know one person who's interested in just sharing their personal story. So I want to invite that. And then maybe 2, that's the timer. And then maybe 2 additional questions. And then we'll close out with our final question. So we're going to go ahead and take that break for everyone. So feel free to turn your cameras off, do whatever it is that you need to do. We'll play some tunes and then we will come back together. Thank you all. You'll hear my voice to let us know to come back. Welcome back. Good to have you all. Take a few moments. I hope that you were able to get your tea, maybe more coffee, whatever it is that you needed to do to bring yourself back to the space. Before we close out the panel, and I'm going to need tech folks' support on this, I just want to, invite folks to kind of add some questions or share reflections. We're going to take about 3 people, and then we're going to move into just closing out our space. Please pardon me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. So I believe Tutu wanted to share at some point. So if you're still with us, I'm actually going to push the button where it says ask to unmute if I have that ability, and I would love to invite you into the space to be able to share. I know earlier you had your hand raised. So if you're with us, feel free to just take a moment to share your reflections with us. Are you with us?
Hi, good morning, Jody, and good morning, everyone. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I want to thank you, all of you, for this meeting, and thank you for allowing me to say something that I like to say regarding these do I have to turn on my camera? Hold on, let me see.
Only if you want to.
Okay, I don't mind to turn on camera.
Okay.
Let me try, because I am still learning. I'm still learning about technology, so I'm a slow learner, but I'm trying my best to learn here. See.
I might be able to help you out a little bit. Okay, go ahead. You got it. Great job. Thank you.
Oh, สวัสดีตอนเช้าทุกๆคน Good morning, everyone. My name is Tutu Buntapanya, and I work with firm as a community health worker along with Fresno Hope. And I am very happy about getting into the meeting today, because that really healed my heart. And my personal story I would like to share is about the mental health, because from what I know and from what I learned is that we all have mental health. And me personally, when I first came to the US, I used to have bad mental health. And I know that it happened because of stress and because of left behind, because of the war. And in my community, many people from Southeast Asia, for example, from Laos, from Vietnam, from Cambodia, and you know, like we all have many different tribes. For example, I came from Laos. And then I have a lot of Hmong friends that came from Laos. And so we have many different tribes in Laos. We have over 110 minority group, and we have about the 3 main tribes that people really know, which is Lao Lowland, like myself, and Lao Hmong, like from the mountain, and Lao Khmu from the middle land. And we have different culture, different language, but we came from the same country. And when the war happened, like the Vietnam War, we escaped from Laos because we had no freedom over there. So when we came, we have mental health illness, not mental illness right away, but first it started with a bad stress, like myself. Like it bad stress, like what? Like, you know how I have brain, right? And I have mental health. Everybody have mental health because we have brain. If we have regular mental health, we will not want to kill ourselves. We want to do something good for our community. But when we have a lot of stress, and when we have a lot of thing that in our heart that we have nowhere to turn to, or we don't know what to do, then we have mental health disorder. And when mental health disorder, if not healed, if not looking for help, we're gonna become mental health illness. And when we have mental health illness, that's when it's too late. When we take out naked, we don't even know walk naked or do something to hurt ourselves, stab ourselves, or bring out the gun to shoot somebody. That's mental health illness. We need professionals to help us. We need to take medication. And then a lot of us people are really shy to ask for help. And so I'm one of the community health workers along with our big team at firm. And we go out, we talk to the people to let them know there's a service to help. And then, you know, like for myself before, when I just want to die, that's all. When I first came to the US, I have culture shock. I don't know how to speak English. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to ask. And I don't know what career I should study. But one of my aunt, her name is Pamon, she tell my parents, tell your kid, just go learn to be a nurse. Just go learn to be a nurse. That's all career. It's good for you here. So that way you never run out of job, you know. And for me personally, I really want my parents to feel happy. So I go learn to become a nurse. But I know myself that I have some mental that I cannot do that job. But I love taking care of people. Every time I go somewhere, I faint, because when I see something like a lot of swell face or a lot of blood, I just faint, you know. And so like with the mental health issue, with the culture, with the way we treat each other, with the way we can accept one another, no matter who we are, what background, what nationality, what culture, if we learn how to accept one another, or if we learn how to understand how the mental health works, this is gonna help heal our heart. It has to heal our heart and our mind. We have mindset. Like when I was refugee, my mindset was like, oh, I'm nothing. I'm in the US. I don't speak English. I cannot go to school. I don't know how to drive. I don't know where to go. Why should I live? I should just end my life and kill myself, and that'll be end, and that'll be good for me. But that was just my mind thinking. And then, you know, later on, like when I seek professional, the pastor, the professor, the doctor, the professor, I talk to them. And for example, the Reverend Dr. Shan Stanley, she is a firm executive director. She's a strong faith woman. Right now, she take a job in Washington, D.C. And when she see me cry, when when I work at firm, she go outreach to a lot of places to ask for fund, because firm is a nonprofit organization. We have no fund. And sometimes we have some fun, but not much. And it end, this one end, or we don't have benefit or anything. But she go out, talk to the people in the church and different place, and for help. And so I was one of the girl not the girl, but a teenage who came to the US when I was 16. And I go talk about refugee life because I was a refugee. I was left behind. My parents escaped, left me behind because of the war, and we can't escape at the same time. So I was having crazy mind. I just thinking nobody loved me. Even my own parents left me. Nobody care about me. Why should I live? And then, like when I go learn from the people, from the professor, from the doctor, from the people, the community around me, I also talk to the people, and I found out that, oh, in America, there's a lot of places to get help. With Fresno County have a lot of mental health service with the urgent care or anything, like we could make connection and get help, and if we get help, people will help us and we can get better. Like right now, I don't want to kill myself. All I want is to give back. Like I want to give back as much as I can, because if I die today or tonight, then I won't be able to help anyone that I want to help. So I do the best I can with God's help. And I know I'm not better than anyone. I don't know anything more than anyone, but I'm just sharing with everyone right now about my life experience and about what I learned, because the knowledge and the life experience together, it can help our community to get better, to make change together. Especially when COVID hit us. When COVID hit us, everybody had bad mental health. We all stressed out, we locked down, we can't go nowhere, we were stressed. A lot of people die because of COVID, killed them, or COVID make them go hospital. The doctor, the nurse were so tired, they worked so many hours. Community health worker also were the first line, the same as the police, everybody. We were just so tired of a lot of people get sick and die. And now our mindset is different. And so like for me personally, I feel like you're all really special, and you're all special in many special way to help our community in many special way, no matter what language, what culture we are. But as long we accept one another, as long we learn from one another, as long as we learn to understand and learn to know where to get help when we need, then we can get better in the future. We have hope.
Thank you
Fresno
so
have
much,
hope.
Tutu.
So thank you so much for
Thank you,
allowing me
thank
to
you,
share.
and
It's
thank you
burning in my
for.
heart to say something.
Yes,
because I'm
absolutely.
human, and we are human, and we just need to get better. And
Absolutely,
with this COVID
thank
still going
you.
on, it's just killing our heart, and it's really a lot of pain in my heart right now, because a lot of my friend, relative, cousin, friend, they die a lot, and everybody like sad, include young people, old people, everybody. We just not where we were before. We need help.
Thank you so much,
I need help.
Tutu.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to actually, thank you so much for sharing. I actually want to take a moment to just breathe before maybe acknowledging just some reflections and passing it back over to the panel to also share. So if I invite you to just kind of put your right hand over your heart and to just feel that moving through your body. And I just invite you to take a deep inhale. And when you exhale, just sigh. Claudia Rankine, one of my favorite authors, talks about the sigh as an act of self-preservation. So just continuing to be conscious of our breath. I invite you to take another inhale and sigh. Thank you all. And just appreciation and gratitude to Tutu for sharing. And one of the things, I want to acknowledge a few things that I think came up as Tutu is sharing, and then I'm going to pass it over actually to our speakers. And so I'm hearing also the need to support those who are in service to others, right? The need to hold spaces for folks who are serving with organizations, that it's not just about organizations, but it's their life's work, right? Your family's work, generational work, ancestral work, and the importance of holding spaces for celebration and also spaces for support. So I want to be able to acknowledge that. And also normalizing of conversations around mental health, right? As Tutu stated, that we all have mental health and it looks different places on the spectrum. And often too, when I think culturally, the language of mental health can be scary because of the stigma that's attached to it, right? And so you might be in conversation and immediately when you say mental health, that might actually scare someone. And so how to normalize conversations around wellness and also create space for remembrance of practices that allowed people to be able to lean into that prayer, ceremony, breaking bread together, whatever that might mean for all of us in our community and our families. So I want to be able to also acknowledge that space of the normalizing of conversations around mental health. And then I think this is also something that came up as, Ginger and Griselle was sharing what it means to provide knowledge, right? To provide knowledge where folks also feel empowered to take the next step, of course, as we accompany them. But I want to be able to just uplift some of those things around how we all have mental health, although it might look different depending on where we are on that journey. So once again, Tutu, thank you for sharing that reflection. And I saw a lot of claps and hearts in the chat. So it definitely resonated with folks. And also self-care is also a practice of community care, right? That we can say self-care, but I don't want to watch you burn that candle out, burn that fire out, right? I want to be in space with you to do whatever it is for you to rest and create space. So thank you for that. I'm actually going to pass it over to Ginger just to go ahead and share a reflection with us.
Thank you so much, Jody. Satia. When we started this conversation, I had to take a little step back because JL's share really resonated, right? We've got a lot of our stats as Native American people in the prison systems and with mental health. I can't be here in this space and not acknowledge, as Native American people, we are the first people of this land, and we're living in a space where we're trying to create equity, right? We're trying to have balance and cultural sensitivities. We're not really acknowledging the Native people. We're invisible and have been, except certain categories, right? Much like Gazelle, we're family. We're not extended family. My 13 nieces, 23, but the 13 that are old enough to have kids, they're not extended family with all their children. So the pandemic and putting that separation where you're supposed to be to your only household was massive. Last year, everybody had to separate and be in their own house because they had to be in quarantine because everybody got COVID. And we almost lost my mother. We almost lost her. And this is a fear as Native American people. We are working so hard to get back what was ours, what was wrongfully, atrociously taken from us. We know that so many of our people did not come home from these boarding schools, and suddenly, look, we're finding kids. We knew that our people were not coming home. We knew what was happening, and the efforts to take away our language, to take away our sovereignty, to take away our relationships with the land, to take us away from our land base in general. As Hoopa people, we're fortunate that we are on our original land base, but we're not, so I just want to kind of mention last year when everybody had to go into quarantine, my big brother, the father to his 18 children, was killed tragically in a car accident. And to this day, the pain is difficult because everybody listened and quarantined on their own. And so those last 10 days weren't spent with the father. And we lost him, right? And we're continuing, and I'm a language teacher. So I work with families, with children, with community members. And it's beautiful to see people trying so hard to come back to our language, but it's equally painful because of the efforts. My mother was beat when she came home at 5 for speaking her language. She was beat by her father because he was beat in the boarding school because they said, you're not speaking that language. And he said, I'm not going to have you beat by a white man. And then my brother and sister and I come up speaking, and they thought we spoke at home, and I asked, and she finally told me why she didn't speak. This is my mom. So people continue to say this history, that history, get over it. How do we get over it when it's inside of us? It's all a part of us, and we're existing and operating in this world, especially in rural communities where we do not have access. We don't have access to mental health. And those who come in, if they're good, they leave. We need help. And we need to see our Native people. I really appreciated opening up in the way that we did. And I've appreciated this whole thing, right? Our third question, what does that look like? I feel partly, or I felt being in here, that this is a microcosm of what that would look like, where we provide space for each of us. We provide that space and we can hear our songs and we can connect back to our roots. And it's not just one or the other, but I just feel inclined to mention that as a Hoopa woman, we are the first people of this land, and we're the last people to receive any support. I feel like I need to mention, and that is when Mr. Razzle said, forgive the unforgivable. That's our mantra. It is so hard, and I needed to hear that coming into this, because it's hard to be here and not be upset, because there was a mission to rid us of this land, and we're still here and we're trying really hard. But every day, like the song the DJ played, right? Another day, just breathe. Another day, just believe. So I'm going to believe, by instilling that love and power and magic and medicine within the young people, that us older people are going to step into that and continue to carry that forward so that we can rise up and grow and create that space. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger, so much for naming that, right? And I want to uplift that word invisible, right? And I even think about, I'm not going to get too down the rabbit hole, but the culture of land acknowledgements, right? And what it means to continue to pay honor and be in relationship, and not just acknowledge the continued occupation of a land, right? And not to be in relationship with it, right? When we talk about decoloniality, what does that really mean, and how do we lean into that? So thank you for naming that, speaking truth to power, and sharing your story with us from the beginning. Very dynamic. So I just want to uplift that and share deep appreciation, because I know that's also not easy. I'm definitely going to pass it over to our other panelists to kind of name, what does a world with kind of racial and health equity look like for you and your community as well? So feel free to jump in, anyone.
I don't mind going. Ginger, you got me emotional over here. I just would like to say that, I felt that as well, because my maternal grandmother, she is half Native American and Creole and white, and she was never allowed to be herself. She was never allowed to be that Native American girl. She couldn't, because it wasn't safe for her to do that. But I just want to say, for question 3, African Americans and other people of color, they live fewer years on average. We are also more likely to die from treatable conditions. I have worked in hospitals and doctors' offices where I have seen some healthcare staff go above and beyond for all of their patients, no matter the race or financial background. But I've also worked in the healthcare field or at another place where they did great with one race, but when a person of color needed to be seen, the care was different. I've watched a patient tell a doctor of his ailments, and that doctor said, "I can't give you any narcotics if that's what you're looking for." That stigma of people of color being drug addicts and drug dealers needs to stop. I've seen African American patients spend more time in the waiting room than they did actually being treated. My father, for example, was a very humble man. So you wouldn't know that this man was actually upper middle class, because for him, it wasn't all about flaunting his money around. When he got COVID, he thought it was the common cold, and he tried to treat it himself, because he is more of a spiritual man. So he didn't believe in, medications and other toxins being put in his body. When he got to the hospital, he was treated as if he was a burden, and needed drugs. So they said he was acting erratic. So they put him in a medical coma and stuck him on a ventilator, put that tube down his throat. Before they did this, my dad told us he would probably die in there because of the care he was receiving and being pumped with drugs. I can tell he instantly became depressed when they started treating him with such disregard. So I said all of that to say, to me, a world where we have achieved health and racial equity would be a place where there has been major policy changes within the United States. Equal education access for children who live in low-income neighborhoods. My world would have a big melting pot of races who can share the same neighborhoods, schools, hospitals, etc., without facing some sort of segregation. A world where you can go to a hospital and get the very same service, whether you have no insurance, income-driven insurance, governmental insurance, or commercial. More healthcare providers taking the time out to learn more about other races' genetics so that they may be treated in a way to improve their quality of life. This is not a far-fetched world, because it is attainable. We all need to pull together to achieve this. So dare to dream with me, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, JL and Ginger. Ashe, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Grisel to go ahead and just share what that world would look like for you.
Sí. Es curioso que a la señorita que compartió Tutu, o no sé si estoy pronunciando correctamente, disculpen, dijo que aceptación. Y es lo mismo que yo escribí aquí, acceptance, aceptación de que somos seres humanos, que sangramos la misma sangre, que tenemos por dentro los mismos órganos, tenemos un corazón, tenemos una alma. La gente no necesitamos, como seres humanos, necesitamos sentir, ¿cómo se dice? Sentir lástima. Necesitamos compasión, porque la lástima solamente te deja en la misma situación, pero cuando entendemos que necesitamos compasión unos por otros, esa compasión te hace hacer algo por los otros. Eso es en general. En mi cultura específicamente, yo veo cómo se ve la equidad en cuanto a recibir servicios. Para mí, primeramente, es que mi comunidad latina se eduque, que sea una comunidad educada para poder pedir ayuda, que es lo principal. Ya él estaba diciendo que en su comunidad, las personas afroamericanas no reciben el servicio que necesitan como los demás. Les dan un más servicio. Pero muchas en mi comunidad como latina, ni siquiera las personas pueden pedir ayuda o estar en tomar los recursos que hay como los doctores, los físicamente hablando, pero también ahora con la salud mental, los recursos que existen, una comunidad que se levanta para pedir ayuda y que salga de ese estigma de que la salud mental no existe o de que no es reconocida. Una comunidad que pueda también gozar de esos recursos que están disponibles, no importando y tener la misma calidad, no importando cómo lucen, cómo se ven, si son inmigrantes o no son inmigrantes, su situación legal aquí, si son indígenas o no son indígenas, sino en sí que somos seres humanos, pero especialmente eso es para mí el tener una equidad, que mi comunidad se eduque en cuanto a todos los servicios que hay aquí y que podamos seguir adelante y que podamos también contribuir en este país como lo hemos hecho, no solamente en este tiempo, sino desde tiempos atrás, que la comunidad latina contribuye a este país y que amamos este país a pesar de todo lo que hay, pero que estemos abiertos para poder educarnos.
Thank you so much, Grisel. And I'll pass it over to Mr. Hawk to take us home. Just what does that world with racial and health equity look like for you? So I'll pass it over to Mr. Hawk. Are you able to hear us, Mr. Hawk? As we wait for him to get queued up, there might be some technical difficulties. I'll answer the question quickly in a way that is very much more abstract. I will name that. But for me, when I think about any dreaming around liberation and equity, I think about being 6 years old and playing in the fire hydrant in Crown Heights, New York, and feeling free and feeling connected to others without fear of being too loud and too proud, and that freedom will be disrupted, right? And so that's my hope for many of us, that childlike joy of freedom, loud and proud, and feeling just the water cascading over us. So that's what comes up for me when I think about that world. I know it's very abstract, but that's just a little bit about who I am. And I'm gonna pass it over to Mr. Hawk to take us home if you're able to hear us. It might ask you on your screen to unmute. So let me see if that's working. And we flow like water.
nhóm máu con trai của Ron nhắc có prai
I'll see what I can do. 1 second.
The interpreter was working that we have access to when we click on the English at the bottom when he speaks.
We can hear him with your interpretations, but you might need to interpret the question for him. It's okay. Some people are also streaming the event at their organization. So if you're hearing feedback, that's what you're hearing. But thank you all for that. Yes, no worries. Thank you. So the question is, what does a world with racial and health equity look like to you?
Oh, ខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់គឺខ្ញុំពិព័រណ៍នាពិភពលោកនេះថាជាកន្លែងដែលមនុស្សអាចទទួលបានការគ្រប់គ្រងតាមតម្រូវការជាក់លាក់របស់ពួកគេដោយមិនគិតពីជាតិសាសន៍របស់ពួកគេឡើយអាចបកបានទេពិភពលោកដែលពួកគេអាចធ្វើការឬកន្លែងផ្សេងទៀតដោយមិនមានអារម្មណ៍ភ័យខ្លាចសោះគឺកុំឲ្យយើងខ្លាយជាជួនរងគ្រោះក្នុងការរើសអើងជាតិសាសន៍បាននឹងគឺបតិផ្ទាល់របស់ខ្ញុំបាទសូមអរគុណ
And thank you, Mr. Hawk. Thank you everyone so much for being with us today. Thank you all for your powerful stories and reflections. I do not take them lightly. And I also name for myself, I look forward to being in relationship and conversation with all of you. And I, extend that invitation to this group while we are feeling the movement of energy and sacred energy within this space, that what does it mean to expand beyond this space? So thank you again to JL, Mr. Hot, Grisel, Ginger, for sharing your stories and the stories of those that you carry with you. I am going to pass it over to Miss Mariana to just take us away. Thank you all again.
Everyone, hands up. This is the Kemetic symbol for the Ba and the Ka, which is the house of the soul. And I must say, the healing that we've witnessed, the testimonies that we've listened to, we have shared something that bonds us together. Although we're doing work from abroad in different places, we are now seeing how we overlap, how we connect. When we cry and we purge, we allow ourselves the time and space to refresh ourselves. It's not enough to be activists in the community, waving the flags and stepping up to some of the plates that seem so overwhelming and make sure that our community members get mental health. It's just as much for us to be creative in these spaces, in these times, to do it for ourselves as well. I'm proud of you for being vulnerable, for standing in your work, for standing in your testimony, but also reminding us the very reason why we go so hard for this work is because it directly affects our family members, our loved ones, our cousins, aunties, uncles, boo-thangs, and everything else. So we thank you, Jody, for making sure to create such a space of inclusiveness at the capacity that you do. We say Ashe and we say all the sacred words from all of our cultural backgrounds backgrounds in unison. 1, 2, 3, Ashe. It is now time for you to give nutrients beyond just your heart and your mind, but to your body too. So step outside, get some fresh air, fill your body with fuel in the way that you feel best you need it. We're going to come back in 30 minutes to get to the continuum, and make sure to check out DJ Gitana right now over your lunch, over your beverage, whatever it is that you do to fill yourself back up on the ones and twos for the next 30 minutes. So you might be able to burn some calories after you put it in. We thank you for being such willing participants, opening your spirit in this space for the second annual Right to Heal. Give thanks.
Welcome back, everybody, from lunch. Welcome back. Welcome back. Can we get some love for DJ Gitana 415 in the chat, please? I couldn't even fully enjoy my lunch because I was dancing. I don't know about y'all, but please throw some emojis, throw some love in the chat for DJ Gitana. Thank you so much. Welcome back from lunch. We hope you had a moment to nourish yourselves, hydrate, take a break, go outside, and here is to our rest of the afternoon together. And so I want to introduce myself. My name is Ale Fernandez Garcia. I use they, them pronouns. I am the Community Advocacy Manager for CPEN that facilitates the Behavioral Health Equity Collaborative, otherwise known as BHEC. And I'm super honored to be here today in collaboration with all the partners that help plan this beautiful space today. Just so much love and gratitude for everything everyone has offered up and shared today. So much truth, so much vulnerability, so much power, so much culture, and just rooted in that conviction, right? That what our uniqueness is and what our differences are what unite us. And so with that, I want to do a little bit of a PSA announcement because we are so grateful that you're here with us today. We want to take a moment to remind everyone that if you registered as an individual, so if you're a community member here in the house with us today, we're super grateful you're here. And we're super grateful for your time and spending all day with us today. And for that, we want to offer a gift. You are eligible to receive a gift for participating in the entire day. This gift will come from a company that we've partnered with for today's event called Loop and Tie. This Loop and Tie company is a company whose values align with ours. We have curated a specific selection of gifts that are from BIPOC, women-owned, or have a positive social impact companies. So you'll be able to choose from a variety of different gifts. So if you checked individual during your registration, after the event, you'll receive an email. So make sure you check your spam folder just in case, but you will receive an email from a company called Loop and Tie. The email will come from hello@loopandtie.com. Again, that's hello@loopandtie.com. So make sure to check your spam just in case it goes to your spam folder. But from that email, literally click on it, choose from the different variety of gifts that will pop up on the page for you. And all you need to do is enter your mailing address. And that's really the only information we need. And then we'll be able to send you your gift for attending today's event with us. If you prefer not to select a gift, that's totally okay. You can also donate to a statewide or local organization that is co-hosting the event today. So shout out to all those statewide and local partners here at the event with us today. You will not be asked for any payment information. And again, the only thing you need to enter is your mailing address to be able to receive this gift. So again, thank you so much for being with us here today. We are now going to hear from powerhouses, movement builders, and advocates who are experts in their own right about some of the most urgent issues impacting BIPOC diverse communities in California. You're going to hear about some of the community-defined solutions helping communities achieve community health and wellness. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to The Right to Heal. I hope you had some time to get some nutrients for your body, maybe a little fresh air, some sunshine or grass beneath your feet. But I hope you're also digesting some of the valuable insight and information that we've gained in our panel discussion. Now, before we shift to the second half of today, I want us to take some time to hear a few more words from our participating advocates in the organizations that serve us. I want you to get more familiar with the purpose and passion in the work that they do. Know that a lot of this is based on a very important report that has come together so that we can fine-tune the wraparound services and the policy changes necessary to show up and show out for the community members that we know are very deserving. Check it out.
When I think about what mental health means for American Indian and Alaska Native communities, I can't help but not think of sort of the relationship we have as humans to the world, to the environment, to each other, the relationship our mental health has to our physical health and our spiritual health. For us in our community, these things are very connected. And so when something is off balance, when something isn't right, we feel those effects in other areas.
The fact is, actually, community solutions exist, and that's what our report really sought to highlight. And some of these community solutions and reforms that could really support culturally and linguistically appropriate healthcare include prioritizing community-centered care, where folks have a chance to connect and heal with others who have a shared collective trauma. It includes mental health outreach and mental health care in folks' native languages, and fostered by community leaders and organizations who are trusted agents that can be trusted to be mindful of their culture and their experiences. This also includes having quality and inclusive interpretation and translation throughout our healthcare systems, especially for Southeast Asian Americans in California, where nearly 50% of the community is limited English proficient.
We know that before COVID-19, there was a significant increase in the Black teen suicide rate here in the US. We know that between 2012 and 2019, the Black teen suicide rate increased by 45%. And we know that COVID even exacerbated the mental health and well-being of our Black youth. And we've seen an even more increase in the rate of suicide or suicide attempts over the last few years. So this work is important to us. We know that access to culturally available mental health care providers is an important part when it comes to accessing mental health. We know that having insurance coverage for mental health services is also important. And we know that in spite of our best efforts, that the impact of intergenerational trauma and racism that we've experienced collectively as a community over the last few years and historically also impacts the mental health and well-being and overall physical health and well-being of people in our community.
Because what unites us is so much more important than what divides us. And that collectively we can have a voice in the health decisions and in creating healthy communities that we are all a part of. So at CPEN, we do a lot of work around changing state policy and changing local policy and really ensuring that communities and community voices are prominent and are really driving the direction of policy and program change.
The work we do is equally about reflection and revolution. It's creating a sense of belonging, empowerment, and inspiring hope that we can develop new mental and wellness models and services, and that they be funded and available to all our communities in language and in culture in both rural and urban regions, and increasingly in the digital space. The work that we do here is a catalyst for change. Gracias por estar aquí. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome back from lunch. I am burning my Palo Santo to usher in some positive energy. Remember, our healing also comes in air, fire, earth, and water. So I burned my sage this morning and my Palo Santo for us now because the energy is high. If you agree, put a number 7 in the chat box. If you are in alignment with today's message, if something has resonated, if your spirits are lifted, if you're more aware, any of those things represent. So as I put my Palo Santo safely down, I want to prepare you for some more creative arts. Right now, we have a wonderful performance where we will enjoy the cultural Cambodian classical dancer offering a gift of movement for you. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the creative expression. Ashe.
Thank you so much, everyone. This is Ravi with the Cambodian family. Let me share our volume right now. All right, now, can you all let me know if you hear this music? Did that come through all right? Okay, awesome. So let me introduce Mia Lab. Mia, would you mind stepping in the center? Yeah, and then Chanza? Yes. Right. Hi, everyone. So, are we good, Bob?
Can everyone hear?
Yeah.
Can everyone hear us?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Ready.
Okay. So again, I'm a little nervous if I fumble. That's my bad, but there are like 200 people on screen.
Recording.
Riexme Mia Lap is a professional Cambodian classical dancer and instructor based out of Southern California.
Okay, so I would like to translate my. So សូមអាជ្ញាគោរពយកទុកពុកម៉ែបងប្អូនម្ដងទៀតវាគាត់គឺជាអ្នករងរបាំអាជីពហើយក៏ជាគ្រូរបាំនៅមកពីក្លីបយ៉ាងបងប្អូនដែរ
As a former refugee from an underserved community in Long Beach, she uses this sacred art form to connect to her Cambodian roots and feels empowered to continue this rich tradition through performing and teaching.
ចូលវាគឺគាត់ជាអ្នកតំណាងគាត់ជាអតីតជាជនមួយខ្លួនតែឆ្លងដែលមកពីរដ្ឋ Long Beach ហើយគាត់ក៏ជាគ្រូបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលរបាំ
Now, a little about the performance that we're going to witness. So, the Divine Circuit was choreographed in 2005 by award-winning choreographer Sofaline Chim Shapiro. And this performance, Seasons of Migration, uses the highly stylized vocabulary of Cambodian classical dance to explore Calvero Oberg's theory of culture shock.
So ការសម្ដែងនេះគឺចង់បង្ហាញអំពីអត្ថន័យនៃអក្សរសាស្ត្រខ្មែរអំពីអក្សរសាស្ត្ររបាំខ្មែរដែលបញ្ជាក់អំពីការទទួលយកនៅវប្បធម៌ថ្មីដែលយើងមិនទាន់មានបទពិសោធន៍ពីមុនមក
Consisting of 4 short dances, each representing the stages of euphoria, rejection, adjustment, and equilibrium. The work seeks to address the experience of thousands of Cambodians following their displacement after the Khmer Rouge regime.
សូមបញ្ជាក់ថារបាំនេះមាន4ដំណាក់កាលហើយដំណាក់កាលនីមួយៗបានបញ្ជាក់អំពីអត្ថន័យផ្សេងៗគ្នាដូចជាសេចក្តីរីករាយការប្រងើយទៅដោយនៃបរិស្ថានឬក៏ធ្វើឲ្យមានតុល្យភាពហើយរបាំនេះទៀតតក៏ចង់បញ្ជាក់អំពីខ្សែជីវិតរបស់ជនជាតិខ្លួនខ្មែរដែលឆ្លងកាត់សម័យខ្មែរក្រហមហាក់បីដូចជាការទទួល
I'm in here. Let me try this.
All right. And this next part was really hard for you to know. So if our professional C-Pen translator could do it, that would be fantastic. So Nieng Nye, the second dance of Seasons of Migration, revives an ancient character from Cambodian mythology to illustrate the rejection of history, culture, and identity. Moving through a primordial forest, Nieng Nye is confronted with her own tail and tries to tear it off. So that's what else?
So ក្នុងប្រវត្តិសាស្ត្រនៃប្រទេសកម្ពុជាយើងដឹងហើយថានាងនាគគឺជាបុព្វបុរសខ្មែរដែលបានចាក់ចេញអំពីក្នុងព្រៃមករស់នៅក្នុង សម័យកាលមករស់នៅជាមួយនឹងមនុស្សលោកដូច្នេះហើយគាត់មានការជួបប្រទះនៅរឿងរ៉ាវជាច្រើនដែលគាត់ត្រូវកាត់បន្ទុយរបស់ខ្លួនឯងដើម្បីមករស់នៅជាមួយមនុស្សលោកឲ្យស្របទៅនឹងស្ថានភាពនៃការរស់នៅបាទសូមអរគុណ
Alright, and without further ado, Mila. Can we play the music on Spotify? All right.
Wonderful, giving thanks and praises for the movements. I don't know about you, but I was over here trying so hard to get my hand to bend and to flex in a way that is graceful and is beautiful. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for that movement, that spinal alignment, the curl of the toes. I'm gonna have to look up some more Cambodian dancing lately because I can go to sleep and rest and relax to that. I want to check in with everyone. How are you feeling in this moment? Send out the word that best represents the feeling in your mind or your heart and your spirit. Give a deep check-in and let everyone know what's going on with you. What are you feeling in your physical embodiments, your heart, your mind at peace, blessed, balanced, relaxed, moved. Keep them coming. Gratitude is unanimously amazing, and that is exactly what we want to give you a deep and gentle reminder about. As you are movers and shakers in this work in the community, it is just as essential for you to have moments to be moved, to be balanced, to be grounded, and allow this to continue for you and all of your fellow shakers and quakers out there. I see more gratitude, feeling great and empowered. I see relaxed, grateful, connected. Very good. +1 if you feel connected. If you learned at least one thing about a cultural experience or community experience, put a number 1 in the chat box. I know I've learned some wonderful things, some amazing things, some insightful things. Really quickly, We have a few moments before we're going to have a break with DJ Gitana. And what I want to do is invite you. If there is one person that said something that resonated with you, make sure to slide in the DMs in the most positive community building way. Introduce yourself. It's not enough for only us to know the people in our immediate collectives in this work, but quickly just give a side DM message to someone and said, I appreciated that story, what you shared about your father, what you shared about your community member, anything like that. If you want to know more about their organizations, we invite you to get connected on a deeper level. May it be for personal, mental, and emotional health support, or community support because you want to share some resources. Please be mindful to mute your mics. I think I'm hearing feedback from someone, so a quick check-in.
Died in February.
And now we're going to go ahead and move forward to a break with DJ Gitana for 5 minutes. If you need to refresh yourself, stretch and move, please do that.
Thank you.
Please remember to mute your microphone. I can hear somebody, and we all in your business right now. We can hear you out there. So make sure to mute the mic. DJ Gitana, take it away and prepare for the second activity as you listen. See you in a moment. DJ Gitana is tearing it up. You've got folks in the comment section go crazy. Do me a favor, go back to the split screen so we can see your face. Come around to the front of your ones and twos. DJ, no one can see you. They want to see your smile. We saw you picking up the mic, but we couldn't hear you. Can you just have a moment? Can we give voice to DJ Gitana? Take yourself off mute and just plug in really quick. They want to know where you're located. They want to know if they could book you for their birthdays, weddings, divorce parties, bar mitzvahs, you know, all that good stuff. Can we give voice to the DJ? Put number 1 in the air, 2 in the air for your DJ. Represent one time and speak your piece, my sister.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? My name is Gitana. I'm from San Francisco, the Mission District. I'm 28 years old, but I'm an old soul, so I got all the jams. You know, I got to represent Frisco's finest, the low-riding culture. You know, my family always put me on with the oldies, so got to represent with the music, and it's strictly vinyl. I love Bad Bunny, but I don't have any today. But yes, you guys can contact me. I could drop my email in the chat, let you guys know. But you know, I couldn't exactly get the angle of both, but here's my face. Nice to meet you all, and thank you everybody for being here and just sharing space with me. And you know, music is medicine, and that's the way that I, you know, express myself. So I really appreciate having you all receive me today, and thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. DJ Gitana. So now you know that you can reach out and touch her to get connected for your events, whatever it is. Clearly, she can rock it virtual or in person. We are so grateful for the gift of your sound, your fingers, and your old soul in those new bones. We appreciate you. Gratitude all the way around for my relations, DJ Gitana. So now it is time for us to prepare for the second major activity of the day. There's a lot going on. So I want to read some clear notes to you to make sure that you understand where you have access to. Someone asked, will the breakout rooms be available on recording later for your view? Yes. So follow up with CPEN to get that information, or we can have somebody drop that information in the chat box for you as well. But yes, we're trying to make sure that they also have accessibility after, especially for those of you who want to attend all 4 of these breakout session places. So let me be clear that we want to remind you a lot of the information has been put into this special report that we referred to earlier. That is the foundation of a lot of the information, the projection, the testimonials from all of the folks, the 1,000+ folks that participated in giving us this information. So feel free to dig a little deeper. If we can have that link to that special report put up in the comment section. And again, afterwards, we encourage you to check out this special report. Many people put a lot of time and energy to compile the information for you, to support you as you continue on in your work in community for policy change, movement building, and so forth, right? So what I want you to do is understand that we have 4 simultaneous breakout sessions for you. You will have 90 minutes for the breakout, and you can choose what breakout that you want to attend. I'm going to explain to you the 4 different breakouts. The first is data equity session. Data equity is an essential strategy for reducing disparities and advancing mental health equity. That's session 1. The other session 2 that is happening simultaneously is reducing stigma in mental health session. Best practices in culturally and linguistically relevant stigma elimination in mental health. The third breakout is workforce session, protecting the integrity of emerging workforce models, including peers, community health workers, and promoters. Fourth, the last session that we have, again, these are all simultaneous, is community partnership session, strengthening integration, strategies for robust CBOs, and county partnerships in rural and urban communities. At this time, you'll view the speakers in those spaces. To access the session in different language, please dial the appropriate number that corresponds. They're on the slide, which is visible, and that's in slide number 4. There you can go to seek out the language that you need to listen to these sessions appropriately for your language. And as a reminder, all speakers, when you touch the mic and unmute yourself, make sure to introduce yourself, represent who you are, with organization or community you're with, your pronouns, and then begin to share your space. Again, we want to remind everyone that it's about defining, naming, creating, and speaking for ourselves. So at this time, we will break out into our rooms. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat sections if you have them. Now we have the breakout room showing. Please go follow the hallways and enjoy your breakout session. I hope that you get tons of information, a deep sense of belonging, and inspiration as you continue your work as community movers and builders. Have a great time. Oh, I know you're feeling that Michael Jackson. What album was that? Anybody right now? Call it out. What album did that song come from? Let's see if you're showing your age and your soul. We are back from your breakout sessions, and I've been getting a little bit of feedback and seeing some comments. There have been some rich conversations, some high value in terms of really getting into the nuts and bolts and what it takes to design the machine that'll move us forward and honor us in every aspect, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. It's been an amazing day, and we are now slowly coming to the close. And I just want to make sure to point out that some of you may have gotten abruptly disconnected, timed breakaway rooms. You know, we get passionate in the things that we do, and we tend to forget that we're on a timer. So for those of you who have maybe been, you know, mid-thought, mid-vibration, or, you know, exchanging some of the power of your mind with another colleague or a peer, feel free to, again, connect beyond this moment in time so that you can continue those build sessions. We encourage it. We prefer it because it lifts you up, it grounds you, and it reminds you that you are not the only one when you're pushing up against those old archaic systems. So we apologize for that, but we do want to keep and honor time because you have lives outside of this work that you do here today. So I want you to shift your energy because now it's time for some fun. There is a raffle that we are going to have. And in this raffle, I would love to bring forth a beautiful soul. Carolina, please join us and lead the raffle.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all so much for sticking with us this afternoon. And please, you know, take care of yourself. I'm Carolina Vai. My pronouns are she, hers, and I'm the policy director here at CPEN. We're going to do a raffle. But before I do that, I really just want to give a special shout out to so many of our presenters today. We are part of a larger movement here in California to build multiracial mental health equity for all communities of color. And I just want to say, I see you, Angel from Bakersfield American Indian Health Project, Divinity from California Black Women's Health Project, Ravi, Vatana, Amina from CamFam, Cambodian Family, G from Hmong Cultural Center, Lillian from On Track Program Resources, Kamoya, Dr. Kamoya Jody from Restorative Justice for Oakland Youth, Terry from True North, Karina Yeraldin and Melissa from Vista Community Clinic, Natalie from Visión en Compromiso, Lester, I see you from the Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission, Gerardo from Indian Health Center of Santa Clara Valley, Jack from FIRM, Vanessa from MyCop, Lesia from Be Smooth, Jamina from Epic, and Lizette from Ultimed. Those are the folks who are building local movements here in California to advance mental health equity. Those are the speakers that you've been hearing from in the breakout rooms all day. And so please do connect with them if you want to get part of these local movements. We have dropped the speaker directory in the chat, and so you can find them there. So wanted to just give that huge thanks as just one member of the Right to Heal Planning Committee. We've got a lot of members that you'll hear more from later today. You'll see their pictures. Thank you so much. Huge gratitude from us at CPEN. So now we're going to do the raffle, and I think we've got to do a, yep, there we go. Okay, so we're going to do a raffle for folks, for community members that came to the event today as a way to express our gratitude to you for your time, for your expertise, for your generosity. We are so grateful for your participation today. Without you, we would not be able to do this work. And so we're going to give $300 gift cards to 3 different community members, and let's give it a spin. All right, Jeannie Celestial, if you are here today, please drop your name in the chat. Tell us you're present or unmute yourself, name yourself. We want to hear from you, and I'll give it a moment. All right. I think Jeannie probably had to step out at some point. I know we got busy lives, so let's give it a couple more spins and see who's here. You got to be here to win your raffle, all right? So we might do this a few times, so hang in there with us. All right, let's give it another spin. Oh, Alexis, Robles Fradet. Good to see you. I know that name. Are you here today? Let's get a little love in the chat, Alexis, or unmute yourself if you are present to claim your raffle. Lots of love for Alexis here in the chat. I'd love to see it. All right, we gotta keep spinning. We gotta find those 3 people who are here. If you're here and you hear your name, say yourself in the chat or unmute yourself so you can claim your prize, all right? This is for the folks that have been with us throughout the whole day. Exactly, Gerardo, keep spinning. All right, Kathy Wynn, are you here? Do I see you in the chat? Unmute yourself. All right, let's keep spinning. We're gonna move it faster and faster. Rosie Diaz, are you here? You're here? Woo, Rosie! Congrats. You are our first official winner of this prize. Thank you so much for your time, for joining us. Shout out to VCC for doing a community screening in San Diego. So grateful to you all. So we're gonna follow up, Rosie, and make sure you claim your prize. All right, let's give it another spin. All right, Leila Sadat, are you here? If you're here, let's hear from you. Unmute or drop yourself in the chat. Great, we see you, Rosie. We're making sure you're gonna get your prize. All right, we got 2 more still. We got these gift cards to give away. Let's do one more spin. Samuel Sway, are you here? Unmute yourself, drop yourself in the chat. If you're at a community screening, you can use your community screening and let us know.
Over here, we got that.
Yes, I hear you, Samuel. Congratulations.
Okay.
Yep, I hear the excitement. I can feel the energy. Cam, another shout out to our community screening in Orange County hosted by CamFam. Thank you, Samuel, so much for sharing your time, your presence, your energy. We are so grateful, and we're going to make sure you get your gift card. So thank you so much. All right, last one. Let's do one more. Leola Macmillan, are you here? Drop yourself in the chat, unmute. All right, let's keep going. Still got one more gift card. All right, Brenda Gascon, are you here? Matt, all right, let's keep going. I can feel it. I can feel us getting there. Lord Shua Lee, are you here? All right, let's give it another spin. Vinny Alak, are you here to claim your last gift card? We got this one more gift card. All right, let's give it another spin. Thanks, y'all, for hanging in there. I know this last person is destined to get this gift card, so let's make sure they get it. Brenda Hall, are you here? Unmute yourself or drop yourself in the chat. Exactly. Se la perdió. These folks are losing their gift cards. All right, let's keep going. If this is your email address, Mr. or Mrs. Singh, please let us know at my sister's house. Anyone here is representing this person, we are happy to. Oh, my sister's house, here you are. Woo! Last but not least, for all of our winners here, thank you so much for spending the day with us, and we will make sure to get you your gift cards. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I was smiling my face off. I felt like we were on our own game show for a minute. So we could do that for a whole hour if y'all want to give donations all day. That was wonderful. I saw somebody say they're going to use that app for their org. I'm definitely going to use it for some of the facilitations that I do. That was fun and exciting. And it also shows it pays to stay around. So thank you so much for those who gave up those donations for those prizes. Congratulations to the winners. I hope that you're able to apply that in a way that serves you well. So what we want to do now, look, my heart rate is up too, Alyssa. Absolutely. My heart was pounding. That was so fun. So what we want to do now is come to a close. As much as we've just agitated your excitement, we do want to come to full circle, and the same way we began this circle time today in a way of sacredness, in a way of grounding, we want to begin to close out this experience together collectively. But don't wait, stay present until the end if you can. And what we want to do is just have a mindfulness moment. And, DJ Kitana, if you can find some nice, slow, mellow, whatever the universe sends you as a sound and accompany with me right now, I would like to guide us into just a few moments of mindfulness to really ground ourselves. So if you are so moved, make sure that if you're sitting down, your feet are, relaxed but planted. You are sitting in your chair in a way that your spine is upright in alignment as much as you can comfortably. Close your eyes and center yourself. Despite all the things going on in the world, a big part of what we're doing is not only advocating for mental health and mindfulness in the home, school, neighborhood, and workplace, but we've got to make sure to lift it up and do it as much as we can, especially in the moments that they're offered, especially in the moments that it's carved out for us. And I want to invite you again with that theme of the deep breathing to take that deep breath in unison and exhale. This time, deep breath without heaving of the shoulders, not so much filling the lungs, but filling that midsection to its capacity. Fill it up until you can't take any more air in. Breathing in. Feel that quiver and release. Again, breathing in until you feel oxygenization to all the cells going to every part of your body. And breathing out. Anywhere where you feel tension, if the tongue is clung to the roof of your mouth, relax it and breathe out. Breathe in if you seem to capture tension in your neck and shoulders, just relax them and let them release that good inch. If you carry stress